that same song. Okay, same song. Here we go. And hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, Galactic Starcruisers, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I'm Mr. Jason Roskam. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I'm good.
All right, very good. And we're not alone. Again, joining us for the second week in a row.
It's my third guest spot on the show.
That's right.
Second in a row.
Third guest spot in 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty good.
Second in the past 10 days.
Yes.
So
Right.
there you go.
Do that math.
Right. Please, somebody do that. Chat, do that math.
Yeah, but we got our good friend Bob here. Welcome back, sir.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, how you feeling?
Feel good.
Yeah,
I feel good.
Did you get some rest this weekend?
Yeah, I kind of, except that my 2-year-old has hand, foot, and mouth. So I came home I came home to my wife like, "Do you have a good time?" "Yeah." "Well, I slept 2 hours last night." Got it. So you didn't. I know how this weekend's going.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That is a very military return. Because
That's happened to us.
Oh yeah,
so many times.
You come back from a trip, and we're like, "Oh yeah, where'd you go?" I'm like, "Oh, it was decent." "Yeah, why?" "Well, the kid's been fucking sick. We've been in the hospital twice." So,
we lost power for 3 days while you were gone.
Hot water heater broke. Fucking washing machine stopped working. Yeah. It's always something.
Were you gone over Sandy? Is that what you're talking about?
No. Well, sort of.
Yeah, we were.
because
Yeah.
You guys were. Yeah,
We worked
you
the
were-
shelter.
dude, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So,
right.
oh my God, so many stories about that. But we're not here to talk about Hurricane Sandy this week.
Don't get me started.
What are we here to talk about, Dave?
What, you guys are going to talk about your Galactic Starcruiser adventure. I'm going to sit here and listen and ask questions.
And
really, what it's going to come down to.
Good. Let the jealousy flow.
That's
through.
fine. I'm looking forward to it. You guys can. I'm not ashamed to live vicariously through your experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if nothing else, we're gonna give you plenty of reasons to go the next time.
Excellent.
So-
That's exactly what I want. I
Absolutely.
want enough feedback where I can convince Kathy to yes, we have to go do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end, if there's time, we're going to talk about visions. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
If there's time.
So, before we get into all that, should we take care of some business first and talk about Patreon?
You can talk about Patreon.
All right. Well, if you're enjoying the Sidebar Cantina's content, consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters. For as little as $1 a month, you can support this podcast and help make it possible. I haven't read this in a while. For us to continue to bring you quality content week after week. We'd like to give a huge shout out to all of our current patrons. She mixed up the order again. Catherine Rennick, Dragon Buddy, David Schmuck, Frederick Martin, Steve Long, Shotgun Mark, General Chinobi, Nicholas Schaefer, Wally Frogmore, my wonderful mother-in-law, Patricia Goodstein, Nick from Sweet Studios, Scott and Kim from Used and Abused, Frank Kalevich, Kristen Roskam, Don Solsky, Lord Helmet Fire, Ivo G, and our latest patrons, Carly and Janine Vickers. Did I get that right this time? I think I said Kath. Oh, yeah, she put it in caps. Carly and
Yes.
Janine Vickers.
Yes, you did.
So
Very good.
I think I said Kathy last time.
Yes.
And then, mid-show, got lambasted for it.
Well, it was in the first third of the show, but yes, you did.
Yes. So, anyway. If you'd like to consider becoming a supporter, you can find us at patreon.com/thesidebarcantina. Thank you again to all of our listeners and supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. You are the reason why we do this. And just one little addendum. Again, Dave's fancy Shure microphone that he's been using for the last 2 weeks now came courtesy of you, the Patreon supporters.
Which you can't see, and I'm not going to fuck with it.
But
so.
you can hear. And
Yes.
that's the important part.
Yes, you can.
All right.
I can definitely hear it when I'm editing. It's weird.
Yeah?
I can
Like
hear
you
it.
notice the difference
I can
between the
notice
two
the
of us?
difference between the two.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very odd.
All right. Just means we got to get more of them.
Oh, and I want to mention that Vickers, that Helmet Fire, is home from the hospital.
Oh, good.
good to hear.
Yeah, I got to visit him immediately after he had the staples out. Which is, oof. So, but yeah, he got to go home the next day after that. So everything is going well.
All right. Fantastic.
So yeah, he's home, and now he can be bored at home while he's recovering, as opposed to looking at this tiny this size television 18 feet away,
Right.
listening through that hospital speaker, and going and watching South Park, for the 54th time. So yeah, congratulations, you're home. to start your recovery. So
All right.
excellent.
So do you have any Red 5 headlines?
I don't. Well, so Lunar Girl, I got a long paragraph that I'm going to read here. We're going to be taking it down a notch with it, but note that it is sidebar headlines. I changed it in the notes.
Okay.
So we're in sidebar headlines.
Gotcha.
We're making a change. I know how good we are at changing things.
Yes, we're great at that.
Yeah, we are
going
awesome at
against
that.
our normal flow.
So I changed it here because when you say Red 5 and then I look and there's Red 5 right underneath it in the notes, I'm like, no, but there's sidebar headlines up here. That's what I'm supposed to read.
Okay.
So I have to change it there. So you say sidebar headlines and then I read the correct thing.
But I didn't say sidebar headlines.
Well, I'm correcting you now.
All right, fair enough.
We are professionals.
You guys are square on this now, right?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
I'm sure it'll be screwed up again.
Next week, absolutely, we'll do it wrong again because he'll type the notes and he won't put that, and then he'll read it just the same way, and then it'll be the same thing.
Just Google Docs them, and then you can like proofread and make
It is
corrections
Google
yourself.
Docs.
Yeah, that's what we do. But
Then on some level, you have no one to blame but yourself. You could correct it,
I did.
and you have no one to blame but yourself because
Yes.
you should know better.
I always blame Jason. It is always Jason's fault.
I'm blaming both of you.
yeah, no.
It's
Mostly
fair.
because I don't have a dog in this fight.
Right. Anyway,
It's more fun to watch us bicker. To
Yeah,
be
it
honest,
really is.
that's our whole show.
right.
All right. So, all right. This is basically a note from Mom. All right. We love our sidebar followers. We truly love interacting with all of you on our social media platforms, Luna Girl especially. Thank you, Luna Girl. This is a reminder for all of you to please be mindful of what you type to each other, both in our social medias and our live chat. Not everyone is going to agree with everything, and that's okay. You don't have to, but use your manners. Be kind to each other. The kids are driving LG crazy, and Sidebar Mom is tired. Like I said, this is from Sidebar Mom. Don't make her delete and block. That's the last thing she wants to do. Don't need to argue with each other or scroll past or take up in a DM. Seriously, the end. The end. And other things, sidebar, we are aware of the smear campaign. All right, we'll stop there before I read this next part. Here's the reality. Here's the thing from our two dads. Knock it the fuck off. Seriously, just knock it the fuck off. The negative bullshit, like whether you're fucking Juliet, Victor, or anyone else, just the constant negativity is just so fucking grating that the whole purpose of this is to like enjoy yourself and get lost in something for a little bit, not to be constantly reminded of something negative. And if like Jason had posted earlier today in response to yet another negative thing, if you don't like it, don't fucking watch it and leave the rest of us the fuck alone. Seriously, stop. Just stop, because the next time you're out. Sorry. You're at the sidebar. We can control things like, I don't know, the Discord server and the cantina. Like, we control those things and you will be gone. And I don't give a shit after that. I don't care. Like, literally, so it's one less thing for me to have to fucking stress about. And Luna Girl, has to look at it, because she looks at that shit more often than we do. I don't want to stress about that. That's not what this is about. Yeah. It's the least I want. The last thing I want to do with this is stress about it. I got enough bullshit to stress about. Seriously. So none, no more. Nope. It's either you stop or you're gone. That's it.
No, you said it perfectly. And especially when it comes to sort of personal insults or slights. Like, that's kind of what happened today was, we're trying to get excited about the show and talk about our experience at the cruiser, and this person just, decided to shit all over it and just, be very insulting and condescending, all in the same breath. And it's like, no more of this.
Yeah,
like
over Starcruiser?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and you know what? It goes back to a lot of the stuff we were talking about last week with all of the YouTubers and building their brand on negativity and everything.
Here's the thing about Star Wars. It's a fantasy genre.
Yeah.
Right. It's not scientific. If it was, as we talked about last episode, there'd be no explosions. There'd be no sound in space. Firefly, by the way, great scientific, no sound whenever they film space. So, but my point, getting back to the point, it's a fantasy genre.
Yeah.
And what do you do with what do good movies, good epics, what do they make you do? They let you escape reality for a little bit because
Yeah.
let's all be honest, everybody has difficulty in their lives. Nobody is bereft of difficulty. I don't care how much money you have or how little money you have or what your situation's like. Everybody's got difficulty in their life, and that's
Absolutely.
the beautiful thing about Star Wars and other things like it, right? You can escape reality for a little bit, and with stuff like this, with podcasts, Starcruiser, other things, you get to congregate with other people who really appreciate that.
Yes.
And so that's the point of doing this, is to escape reality and come together in a community and appreciate that thing that lets you all escape reality for a little bit. Because let's all be honest, it's hard enough just doing what you do day in and day out.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need it with something like this. That's not the purpose of it.
Well, and I'll take it a step further. Everything you said is 100% accurate, but there are definitely people that some people don't like the direction that Star Wars took, and this is where they want to live, and that's fine. There's a whole community of those people that can all live together.
Yeah.
And they can all live in that same thing, and they can feed off each other with that. But that doesn't mean you jump into another pool of it to try just to, I just want to drop this little bit of negativity into this because, everyone else seems to be liking what they're looking at. Let's just drop negativity in it until it pisses people off. We've been more than, honestly, I think we've been pretty fucking lenient up until this point with some of the negative shit. I've tried to be like, I've been as lenient as the pills I take will allow me. And then the shit today that you had posted, I'm like, I'm fucking done. Maybe it's just because of the nature of what happened this morning. But I just like, no, I'm fucking done. I'm not here to stress about this. This is supposed to be, we do this because it's fun.
Sure.
And Jason and I, we don't do this for money. We do this and we engage with people because it's fun. We could very well do this in a vacuum.
Sure.
We could sit here and talk to each other about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like we did when we first started the show. And we could produce content. But this is way more fun. It's way more fun to have this level of interaction with people. And we want to have it with people that are into what we're saying. And it's not about having contradicting views because yes, there's going to be contradicting views. That's part of having a solid discourse about something. However, read the room, right?
Yeah, for
right.
sure.
Read the room. But
sure.
I'm not. So I don't want to dwell on that anymore. I'm just putting it out there. That's us. You heard it from Mom. Now you heard it from Dad. Knock it the fuck off. So let me finish the read.
Sure.
Unless you got something else.
No, go ahead.
All right. So another thing, sidebar. Did you tell him about Hennifer, by the way?
He doesn't know a thing about her.
Jesus Christ.
It's probably for the best. It's probably for the best.
All right. We aware of a smear campaign being brought forth by our brothers at ATSW, the Escape Pod, where they're insinuating that Hennifer and LG are something like time-traveling crime lords. You needed to watch the last Escape Pod. I actually tuned in.
I was in Orlando.
Right. It would, and you wouldn't be able to watch it because they took it down for hate speech.
What did they do?
Ouch.
Oh, I think I know.
Yeah,
it was one of those pictures.
You
they
saw
made,
the pictures.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So Miss Lopez will not be appearing this evening, as the lawyer has advised her not to speak on the subject just yet. So, again, we're just going to leave it at that.
So their whole video got taken down because of that.
Apparently, like I jumped in there early on, and then I had to go to, but these guys.
Classic.
Yeah.
So the Escape Pod are our brethren from Michigan. They actually came down here for our 100th episode.
Oh yeah, we talked about it last time.
And they started their own show right after that, and it's been a fun little little back and forth.
It has been, but I think YouTube was looking at some of the pictures, going, "That's no, no, that's
not cool."
That's you may have gone too far.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I got.
All right. So before we get into our weeks, I wanted to talk about a little bit of Star Wars news that I saw hit the wire within the last day or so. And it was about, so first of all, like this whole writer strike, like if you look at any entertainment news, like the writer strike is everywhere. So it's my understanding this is not going to affect anything Star Wars right now. I guess they were able to hammer out the last few scripts for Andor season 2 before the writer strike happened. Obviously, Ahsoka's been done filming. Acolyte, I think, is almost done being filmed. Same for Skeleton Crew. So thankfully, that's not going to affect any of our Star Wars stuff. And on top of all of this Writers Guild stuff, this little story popped up about the writing credits for Ahsoka. So have either of you heard about this?
No.
So most people know that Dave Filoni is sort of the showrunner for Ahsoka, but to the extent of that, we hadn't really found out until just now. And the writing credits for Ahsoka's 8 episodes, so now we know that there's 8 episodes in Ahsoka, which I hadn't heard before, were just confirmed by the Writers Guild of America's website. Link to their website. As listed in the series section of the portal, showrunner Dave Filoni is the only credited writer for all 8 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah, so Dave Filoni, this is from the direct, but you can just Google Dave Filoni and you'll find him on a bunch of different
So is
links.
Dave Filoni on strike?
No, apparently not. Well, I would... Actually, he probably is. Like, if he's part of the Writers Guild, I think you kind of have to be.
I don't know. I don't know
But-
how that works.
Yeah, me either. It's
Didn't George leave the Writers Guild? Like,
no, that was the Directors Guild, I think, or the.
I mean, look,
That was the
it's-
Directors
it's-
Guild, yeah.
It's fine. They're just gonna put everything into Chat GPT and they'll come out with scripts that we all love, right? And you'll never know the difference. And then,
I mean, with some of these movies, the Chat GPT might actually make them better.
well, you know what? It's a big issue with the writer strike because Bert, my friend who we were with on our trip,
Yeah.
I mean, that was, he's in the industry.
Yeah.
And so one of the big sticking points on that negotiation is, I think they said something to the effect of like, you can't use ChatGPT to write a lot of this stuff. And the response was that I guess the counterparty to this
the
strike-
film companies.
the film company said was yearly technology review to be conducted yearly. It's like, oh wow, you guys are far apart on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So without going down a rabbit hole, because you can on this thing, that's interesting that he wrote all 8.
Yeah. And obviously we
When
as
does
Star.
this guy sleep?
I don't know if he does. Yeah.
He doesn't look like he sleeps much.
Yeah,
he
it's
has
true.
that. He has that
He's
like.
not a healthy looking guy.
No,
definitely
he's
not.
he has that nerd look to him, like he's been up all night playing video games.
We've all had that look at
Yeah.
one point or
Yeah.
another.
But he looks like that 24/7.
Yeah.
So.
Fair enough.
That's why.
Well, long may he be healthy.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, but the
Knocking
fact
on
that
wood.
that he wrote all 8 episodes, nobody else is credited at all. And when they write these shows, you can have a showrunner, you can have a primary writer, but there's always like a half a dozen people
sure.
there to help punch up the script and
Yeah.
and do all that, but nothing here. So this is 100% Dave. So, we've been putting a lot of stock into him over the years. Like, this is our guy. This is our Lord and Savior.
He will have. So we have one person to blame if it goes all to
That's
shit.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. So I'll be very curious to see how this unfolds.
We
But
know who to point the Death Star at.
yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, and the fact that it was confirmed through this that there's 8 episodes in this season of Ahsoka. I mean, which is you'd probably kind of assume that because it was 8 for every season of Mando. Was it Boba Fett like 7?
I don't remember.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it was 7, it was really 3.5. I mean, it wasn't-
Right. Yeah, 3.5
4.5.
Boba Fett, 3.5 Mando.
Yeah.
So, anywho, I thought that was an interesting bit of news that broke recently, so I thought I'd bring that up. And I went to the Writers Guild of America's website, and there it is, Dave Filoni episodes, and they listed it out as season 1, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. So
Excellent.
maybe that's a hint that we'll get a season 2 of Ahsoka.
It's based on that trailer that I saw. Like, that was one of those things. Again, it's Rosario Dawson, right? So there was a part of me that still had this idea that this fly is going to fucking drive me.
I know it's been
insane.
driving me crazy. We can open up the door and see if
And
it'll
let
fly
more
out.
in. Like,
Yeah, we don't have the salt gun. So.
no, I need to bring the assault gun back in.
Yeah, we've actually got one in the backyard. Kristen, if you're listening, bring the salt gun out. Load it up first. Make sure it's got salt in it.
Yeah, and bring some safety goggles for Bob.
The goggles, they do nothing.
So
But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Fuck.
the Ahsoka trailer. After
Oh
watching
no, the
Ahsoka-
trailer. I like Rosario Dawson being in it, right? So like, how much action is she really going to be doing? And you're looking at trailer, it's like, oh man, there's a fair bit of like we're going to really get some legitimate action out of this, like, and it's going to have a good pace to it.
For sure. I mean, she's a Jedi, or well, former Jedi, whatever.
Right.
She's
No.
a combat-oriented character.
From what I saw, so it was a little clunky, I thought, in the Mando 2.5 episodes that we saw.
Did she do any action in those episodes? I
She
thought she was just
had her
hanging out.
no, she had her lightsaber battle.
Yeah, she had the battle with that one gal who had the
with
Beskar spear.
You're talking. I'm sorry. I'm thinking different season. Yeah. Yes. Right. Yes.
It was just a little bit clunky, and it seems like they made adjustments to like costume and like her leku and stuff like that. So I think that stuff will probably have worked itself out.
That's still one of my favorite Mandalorian episodes. Just
Oh,
visually and everything.
Don't get me wrong. There was a lot great about that, and if they're the little nitnoid things,
Right.
Like I'm comparing the apples to really good apples.
Right.
Like it's still good, but yeah, that's the one thing I noticed from the trailer. Like I was hoping that I'd see a little bit more movement out of her, and I was gratified to see that.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. And we're only, 3 months removed from that? We're in May, June, July, August. Yeah, 3 months. Ugh, it's going to be a long 3 months.
I'll be here before we know it.
Vision season 2 will have to get you through.
Oof.
Get me through.
Anyway.
Yeah, so,
Right.
no, I've got some stuff that's going to help get me through, but we're going to talk about that here in a couple of minutes.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, we ready to talk about our weeks?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So, first of all, now, obviously, mine and Bob's weeks were primarily spent in Orlando doing all the fun Orlando stuff. We're going to talk about that as part of the main topic. But I do have a new addition to
The Sacred Jedi Pixies!
And so you remember when my buddy Brad went to Galaxy's Edge a couple months ago, got me the 2 Black Series collections from Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
Well, I was missing one. He couldn't find it. So while we were there, I did find it.
Yes.
This is the Creatures Black Series exclusive set that was in Galaxy's Edge. I know
Yeah.
you're gonna like it. It's got 2 monkey lizards in
Oh
there.
yeah, that's you sent me a text picture of this, and I was like, wow, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
There's
And
2 monkey lizards.
Minok, Porg,
yeah.
Lothcat? Yeah, Lothcat.
Yep. And 2 different kinds of monkey lizards.
That's.
And
Can we fry them up? Like, can we like
put them on a skewer?
there should be alternate versions of this where you have porgs and monkey lizards on spits.
Yeah, Chewbacca's about to take a bite out of a porg. And, put that back there. So yeah, it was pretty easy to find. But one thing I noticed when we were there, they like all 3 of these series, they don't sell them all in the same spot.
Oh no, they make you search for things.
Yes, exactly.
It's like a scavenger hunt.
Right. So I had to buy this at a little stand that sold like a bunch of plush like animals, like a bunch of plush porgs and some plush monkey lizards and all that stuff.
Okay.
And then they had this Black Series set, but that's all they had. Then I noticed that there's a first order store, like, it sells nothing but like first order uniforms, officer uniforms, blasters, toys. That was the TIE fighter picture that I sent you.
Right.
That was from that same store, and that's where they had the Black Series figure with Hux and the other first orders.
Okay.
And then it was another store that had the droids, the Droid Depot. Had the actual droid collection. So yeah, they don't put them all in the same spot. You gotta, like Bob said, you gotta look for stuff. And
That could be good or it could be bad, because then you're spending a lot of time hunting for these things.
You're spending all that time going to separate stores where they sell separate things, and maybe they'll catch you buying something other than that. Yeah, seems like a very sound marketing strategy.
Yeah. Oh, and wait until we talk
Or
about
just-
waiting in line to get into one of the stores. That's a whole other thing.
Ah.
Yeah. So, one other thing that I found out about myself this last week was that apparently there's a lot of stuff I need to watch.
Oh, Jesus.
You mentioned Firefly earlier. I was lambasted for not having watched Firefly.
You've
by-
never watched Firefly?
No.
It's perhaps the biggest mistake Fox has ever made in the existence of that company.
So how did this come up in conversation?
So we were talking about like alternative shticks we could have done to go to Starcruiser and what, and it was getting funny. And I was like,
Right.
well, what if we, or Bert was like, what if we all just did brown coats? And Jason was like, well, what's a brown coat? I was like, it's like,
You hear the record scratch.
It's like total silence. And the three of us at the table were like, wait, what? Wait,
Wow.
Yeah.
so this is required watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that-
and it's for your own good. It's not like so you get a bunch of inside jokes. It's a great series.
And that's what I've always heard, but the only thing that gave me hesitation was the fact that I knew it got canceled early. And there was a lot of anger about that. And
very justifiably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that got fucking prematurely fucking terminated.
It's had
Right.
to live on in comic books now.
yeah, so like my whole thought process was, well, why do I want to invest time into something that I know got canceled?
It's worth it.
Okay, so but yeah, that came up during this last week. So that's one of the things I'm going to
Firefly,
watch.
Kelly's Heroes. You need to see.
Kelly's
that
Heroes,
too.
yeah, never heard of that before. So
Yep.
and then there was one other thing that
He also hasn't seen a single James Bond movie.
Yeah. Okay. That's rough. I mean, there's some that are better than others.
Facts.
Yeah.
But not seen a single one.
That's.
He's also not seen any of the Mission Impossibles.
I've lost track, but I have seen the first couple.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other one was. It'll come up. I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll come up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that I'm going to be watching as we're waiting for Ahsoka, because
Yep.
I think you said it's on Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah, and it's cheap. I mean, I think you're gonna have to buy it, but it's like $3 or something.
Oh, okay, it's not actually streaming anywhere.
I couldn't Hulu. It might be on Hulu streaming. I don't know
Okay.
if you're a Hulu member or not.
We've got pretty much everything.
Okay, so check Hulu. I think it was when I looked it up. It was Amazon and Hulu.
Okay, cool. Then I'll have to start taking a look maybe as soon as this weekend and kind of give you guys updates as I go along.
I'll give you just a quick side note. When I was dating my wife, she has inherited all of these, things that I'm into, like Star Wars, Star Trek, Firefly, and probably the first month we were dating, she was at my house. She was staying overnight, and we watched the very first episode of Firefly, which is called The Train Job. Mm-hmm. And that episode got done, and I was really tired, and I was like, "Look, I'm gonna go to bed." She was like, "Okay, I'm gonna stay up a little bit," and and I said, "That's fine." I forget how many episodes are in Firefly. It might be 10 or 8 or something. Anyway, I walked downstairs the next morning. Mm-hmm. She's on the last episode. She hadn't gone to bed, and I remember thinking, "I can marry this person."
Yes.
Like this could work.
And how soon after that were you engaged to be married?
It was a while still,
Okay.
but yeah. Oh, look, the salt gun.
Weaponized. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get it.
All right, I leave it to you, Dave. But yeah, so I will start watching Firefly. In fact, I'm just curious if anybody in the chat is.
This thing is so waterlogged. What was it like?
Adam keeps it outside for some reason.
Well, you know what
Does it
salt
not-
does when it's wet?
I don't know.
Dissolves in water.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't make for very good firing.
I don't
solution.
know, Dave.
All right.
So yes, and everybody in the chat is saying I should watch Firefly and that we should talk about it on the show. So we may end up doing that. We may end up breaking down a few episodes here on the show.
That's a show I could hang out for.
Yeah, and one thing about Bob too that I did notice, he's got his man cave in his house, and as you go down the stairs, you've got the Firefly pictures.
Yeah, I got
going down.
I got the super special like Firefly special edition book. It's got all the schematic, and it came with cast pictures.
Nice.
So I had them there. You go down the steps, and there's each one.
There's 14 episodes,
14,
and it's on
okay.
Hulu.
It is okay.
Oh, okay,
Great.
perfect. So, yeah, if we decide to do that, I'll let you know, and we can.
Totally.
Cool. So anyway, yeah, so I found out a lot of shows that I need to watch and a lot of movies I need to watch, apparently. So that's pretty much it outside of what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But first, Dave, let me give it to you, give you a minute to talk about some stuff.
What I do while you guys were all fucking off. I finished Jedi Survivor. Did you finish it yet?
No, I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
We were in Orlando.
Yeah, I'm like 50% of the way. 50% of the way through. I will tell you though, much harder than Fallen Order.
It is.
Way harder.
It is.
In a good way.
It's harder. It's frustrating. I definitely got frustrated at several points to the point.
I'm sure it's fine.
To the point where I had to like put it down like and go do something else.
Well,
but
those little like forced tear challenges are. Have you done all? Have you? Finished
I haven't finished all of them. Like
Those
there's fucking Rancors, man.
Oh, the very first Rancor fight is rough.
Yeah, I went like, I want to finish the story. Like there was a whole bunch of it that I was like, I will come back and finish the side quest later.
Yeah.
Because that's the beauty of it, right? I wanted to get through the story as expeditiously as possible. Not speed running it, but like because I'm not good enough to do that. But I wanted to get through the story because the story itself was worth it.
Yeah.
And what I really enjoyed about the story, without giving, I guess I'm not giving too much away, but the High Republic elements that they're putting into it
Yeah.
they're using the term High Republic without really referencing the
books
I don't
the characters.
Yeah,
and everything
it's not really like they're saying High Republic, but they're not. And I kind of some of the symbology I think is like synonymous with the High Republic stuff that's in the book. But
yeah, the symbolism's there. It's like well, it's the High Republic. It was a huge, expansive thing. So there's a million side stories that can take place in there outside of whatever is canon in the book series.
Yeah.
And so this is one of them, right? This is one of the storylines.
Yep. And so it's done in such a way where it doesn't affect the main canon.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job with that.
Okay.
And I will say at the end, it is the longest credit sequence that I've ever seen in a fucking video game.
Yeah.
It was insanely long. Like I think I was on the Discord channel, like posting updates like every 5 minutes for when the fucking thing was going to be finished with the credits.
Wow.
Well, and Star Wars has done this in several series. Without too much of a spoiler on the game, it talks about, and I assume you get there, a planet that's sort of through an anomaly. It's not like a black hole, but it's very hard to get to. You can only navigate it if you have the proper coordinates.
Right.
And so it's like this pocket planet where you can have a lot of stuff happen and it doesn't affect the main storyline. They did that in season 2 of Rebels when they find Zeb's actual homeworld where his species originates from, the Lasat homeworld.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
And it's through like an anomaly, and the ghosts can get to it because they've navigated it now. And again, like you've got this pocket place where a lot of stuff can happen sort of outside of the main storyline.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back and tidying up and finish. Like right now, I went back to Coruscant, and there's so many fucking nooks and crannies in Coruscant.
How do you feel about blaster and lightsaber stance?
It's required for some of the boss fights.
Sure, but how do you feel about it?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm fine with it. He's not like you talk about Cal Kestis as a Jedi.
Loosely.
Yeah,
Loosely.
He's very like
He's got a physical attraction to a Night Sister, so like let's just yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's all good. Like I don't have a problem with it.
Cool.
I don't use it. I use that fucking broadsword all the goddamn time.
The crossguard.
Oh my
broadsword
God.
That just cleaves large creatures in half.
Oh my God.
Like, is it a lightsaber though? Like,
Yeah.
Lightsaber, but it's a crossguard.
Yeah.
And it's
Like,
basically it's basically like it's like a two-handed strong version of the lightsaber.
okay.
I mean, it's slow and clunky, but when it hits, it just cleaves things in
Oh,
half.
dude, it's so.
It's very satisfying.
Oh, it's very satisfying, and you can throw it too. Like,
Oh, jeez.
if you're set up with the regular with the blaster and the lightsaber, you can't throw your lightsaber, but you can throw the fucking
Yeah, the crossguard lightsaber.
the crossguard, which I keep calling a broadsword, but it's yeah. I enjoyed the shit out of it, and I was worried the story was going to go to a place that it didn't, which I was happy about, and then it kind of like it has a moment where you think like, oh, okay, is this the end? And then it's not, and it has a fair amount of drama in it, but you're still not watching the story play out throughout the whole thing, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like you're still playing through quite a bit of it, and not sitting there watching
Watching cutscenes and all that.
cutscenes a lot. But the cutscenes that are there
Yeah, they're
are great.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed it. I mean, I did it in what? I came out the 28th, and I was done Friday night, I think. Friday night or Saturday.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, I put some later hours into it, but we had some rainy days here that so I couldn't go outside and do stuff. So I put some hours into it with that. So if you put the time into it, you can get there.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. It's worth it for the story. And now I have to buy the book. I have to get the book, and I want to read the kind of
The one that takes place in between the two.
Yeah, I really, because in some of the cutscenes it talks about some of the things that they were doing, and I don't know that I'm necessarily missing anything by not reading the book. Like it just seems like the adventures of the fucking the gang.
in between.
Yeah.
So
It's like they're in the mystery machine and they're off having adventures.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was really good. Yeah, and then we finally got some nice fucking weather. So over the weekend, like you brought the weather back with you.
We did. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
do that for
So the first nice day, I spent the whole day at the lodge, fucking building a gazebo.
Oh, fun.
So that was awesome. And then the day after that, I did yard work, and we went to the Phillies game.
Oh, okay.
So and they won. So hooray!
good stuff.
Yeah. So that was it. That was basically the whole week.
All right. Bob, anything outside of what we did on Starcruiser?
No, I came home to almost 2-year-old with hand, foot, and mouth disease, and my wife was like, "Oh yeah, our daughter." Yeah. So taught yoga Sunday, my normal class that I teach over in Philly. So that was nice. It was a nice day out, so I could keep the door open and
Nice.
air out the studio.
No hot yoga? Yeah, you're still doing the hot yoga?
Well, I teach in a studio in Philly that has no air conditioning and no heat. So it's super cold in the winter. I mean, there's space heaters and space air conditioners, but super cold in the winter. You don't need a hot yoga room in the summer. Don't worry about that. It takes care of itself. So this was the first sort of one where there's this brief month and a half period where it's ambient temperature's perfect. You just open the door and it's like really nice. Enough to get a little sweat, but not enough where you're like drenched.
Right.
It was really good. So I'm going to enjoy the next, 4 weeks left of that I've got.
Yeah. Dave and I still tell stories about the hot yoga.
Oh my God.
Where we almost died.
Yeah, honestly, we didn't talk about it the last week when you were on, but I think that was the first time you'd been on since we'd done the yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I still appreciate you guys supporting that. It was my first class I ever taught.
Yeah, that was like one of your one of your check rides, right?
Yeah, it was my test out class.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah.
Teacher training.
It was a good class. I just don't think we were expecting how hot it was going to be.
Yeah.
So because I had done yoga up to that point, I'm like, okay, I understand the movements and all of that, and but yeah, I was not expecting to just be pouring out sweat by the buckets.
It was gross. I just felt gross. Like
But
other people should not witness me sweating this bad,
right.
or I should be in the desert,
Or you should do it more often.
or,
you go.
or that. God, that's a monster fucking fly. You want to take your shot at it?
Does it work? Like I thought
It works enough.
All right, where are you seeing him?
It's right up there on the shades.
It's in the shades.
Okay. All right.
Here, under.
No. All right.
It's safety's off.
Keep the people.
No, we want to keep it quiet so we can hear the.
Oh, look.
You're the worst.
Nothing came out. I had a dead shot and nothing came out.
That's what she said. Yeah, smush it. Yeah.
You got it.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got it.
All right. Just had to go old school on it.
Whatever. So we chose violence. Excellent. Did you break your headphones?
No.
Oh no, they looked awful loose.
No, it's just the way they are.
Okay. So that was my week. I mean, other than what we're going to talk about, I sort of came home and took care of domestic stuff and then taught a little bit. And then I played Jedi Survivor.
Nice.
All right, very good. So let's get into it, shall we?
Sure.
So the Galactic Starcruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously my first time. This was actually Bob's second time.
Yep.
And just to kind of refresh for people, this was for your 40th.
So this is for my 40th birthday, and for people that aren't aware, I mean, this was a May the 4th cruise, so it was over 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yep.
And it was a takeover. insofar as there's a community of people who are big Starcruiser fans, and there was this idea like 6 months ago or maybe less. Hey, what if we all booked at the same time and like took over Starcruiser? And it sort of centers around, and I have to give a shout out to Sarah Mack. So you can find her on at Sarah SARAJJAY Mac MAC. She's a travel agent. She works for Disney. So when you engage her in her services, it costs you nothing. Disney pays for all of it, but she'll set you up. You can, if you're a first-time Starcruiser goer, you can go to her and she'll tell you, these are what the different rooms are like. These are what the different options are like to do certain things during the day, and here's how the day works or the 2 days work. So she was really super helpful, and thank you, Sarah, very much for making a memorable 40th birthday for me. But the crew that sort of showed up surrounds, I think, her and another guy named Dano, who has a YouTube channel that's very sort of Starcruiser, Star Wars centric.
Yeah, it's like the Dano Show or
Yeah.
something like that.
And it's sort of people who are fans of them, people who are fans of Starcruiser, and have all found each other through social media mostly, and decided, let's just all go at the same time. And it was nice. There were people from as far away as, I don't know if you know this, Jason, Alaska,
Oh, no kidding.
Ireland, UK.
Yeah, I caught some Irish and UK accents.
I think there was one Eastern European, couple of people and their family. So it was, it was international as well. And so we all ended up showing up at the same time. And Starcruiser runs, you arrive at about 1 in the afternoon. They let you on.
Yep.
And then you're there the whole time in the hotel on the Galactic Starcruiser, on the Halcyon. The second day, you wake up and you go down to Black Spire Outpost, Batu, which is the park down in Disney.
Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy's Edge. And
Yeah.
you can spend an hour. You don't have to go down, but you can spend all day there and come back late or whatever. But you can come and go back and forth from there, too, back from the hotel. They'll shuttle you back as many times as you want. And then you spend the rest of the evening on the Starcruiser, and then you wake up the next morning, grab breakfast, and then you're out by like 10:30.
Yeah, so it's like the most fast-paced 48 hours, so much going on.
Yeah. Are we doing a spoiler-free sort of...
I think so,
okay,
because I would
cool.
imagine a lot of our listeners probably want to eventually go. So as far as like spoiling the storyline and everything of it,
I just want to make sure before we get into it.
Yeah.
And Dave hasn't gone, and I don't want to spoil it for you because it's worth it.
but yeah, just know that there is a storyline that goes on over the course of the 48 hours, and it's very rewarding, and it ends with a nice big epic finale, and it's just it really ties it all together, and it makes it awesome. But
Yeah.
I knew we were in for a treat when we got there and we got in line, and there were already a ton of people there, and they were all or a lot of them were already in costume. Because that's something that we mentioned. We were going to go in costume. We had our storyline all planned out, who we were, what we were about, and we knew a lot of other of the travelers were as well. But, I was not expecting the level of cosplay there that we got. Like, I loved it when we first got out, and the person right in front of us was the guy that was dressed as George Lucas. He had the gray beard, the gray hair, the flannel.
So there was a guy dressed as his for the entire weekend, George Lucas.
Yeah, I got a selfie with him, and I posted it in the cantina.
Yeah.
And just to give a background to our group, because maybe this will be helpful in some of the stories we're about to tell.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's me, Jason, my best friend Bert, who was an Army Ranger for 25 years and was retired, and now his son Hunter, who is also in the same unit as his father, now airborne Army Ranger. So Hunter's about 25, and Bert saw all 3 of the Star Wars in the theaters, so he's grown up with it, and it was, Bert and I have done reenacting before, so we've done Revolutionary War, World War I reenacting, so dressing up in funny clothes and hanging around with a bunch of other people in funny clothes is not totally out of character for us. This is a little different. Bert's son, on the other hand, also has done reenacting, but you could sort of tell when he got there, this isn't a big deal. It's a little weird. But the minute it became like a contest, you get to Black Spire Outpost and you got to go find things and you collect credits. The minute it became competitive, he was like, all right,
Yeah.
well, how can I get more than everybody else? Where's my score?
Right, and
So-
that's one of the great things about this too, is the fact that there's so much to do, and you can do all these little side quests, or you can just, what I enjoyed doing the most was just mingling with other people and enjoying the whole overall experience.
When my wife and I went, we definitely got FOMO. We tried to do everything.
Yeah.
And you can't. It's set up so that you can't, which is great because then you go back and you can have a totally different experience than the time before. Mm-hmm. But the way you did it, Jason, I was really surprised and a little bit in awe. Like, you just rolled with it. You didn't do...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because you were with the three of us, you got on every side quest we did. So,
Yep.
But you sort of just rolled with it.
Yeah.
And that's got to be really nice, too.
Yeah, no, it was great because I loved the story that we put together with our characters, and I was all in. Like, I played it straight the whole time.
You totally did.
And
to the point where he wouldn't even drink. We would go to the bar, and Jason would say... Well, I'm on duty, and I'd think, okay, come on, man. Like, how far are we taking this?
Yeah, but no, man, I played it super straight. Obviously, I was one of the senator's security, personal security members. So whenever somebody would come to me, particularly the cast members, because this is the thing, and I think we mentioned this last week, that if you stay in character when you're engaging with the cast members, they also kind of have to play along. And it was great, especially when like the First Order guys showed up. But when anybody would like,
Croy.
Yeah, Lieutenant Croy. When anybody would come up to me and be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Might I introduce you to Senator Kell of Frisia?" And then so I'm 100% just playing it straight. Always like watching the senator's back and making sure there was no riffraff around him. And
the funny part was the pictures, like at the sabacc table, like Jason's like got this serious look on his face, like kind of looking off, like in the distance.
Yeah,
just slightly uncomfortable, just kind of looking. It just thought it was
not
funny.
Totally relaxed.
No, you can just tell,
and that's exactly what I did the whole time.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
we had because Bert has done. I mean, little known fact, I do work in West Africa, and so I've gone to some places that are kind of sketchy, and Bert, for years, did security for me there. He came just sort of as a guy with his head on a swivel. So the running joke the whole weekend, or the whole, not weekend, but the whole 3 days we were on there is, yeah, this isn't totally out of what you and I normally do together.
Yeah, for sure.
And the story, if you go on the Halcyon, go with a storyline. If you go with friends, go with a storyline that connects you. Because then you sort of form your own crew. You can you can talk to other people and hang out with other people, but you've got your own crew, and the cast will totally play along. Sometimes, though, the cast, from all the things I've read in the Halcyon and from what I've experienced, it's pretty hard to watch the cast break character. I don't think I've heard it done.
Yeah.
Within 2 hours, Bert broke somebody.
Oh, this was the best, too.
So Bert's whole backstory is... He's a veteran of Endor, and now employed. One of the few that made it. He's a veteran of Endor who very early on decided, I'm turning myself into the rebels because I'm going to be lunch.
Right.
And because of that, he's got two big problems: Ewoks, fair enough,
right,
and droids. He's an issue with droids because that freaking golden droid and that little astromech totally ruined what should have been a very easy Forest Moon mission.
Right.
Right? Like, so these are his issues. These are his character's issues. So when and then of course now he's being employed through my office as part of the rehabilitation program,
Which, by the way, Bob had that line just like ready to go every time he met somebody new. Oh yeah, amnesty program, and I've employed more.
My office has brought more people through more Imperials through the amnesty program than any office in the Imperial Senate.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bert. So those are Bert's issues, right?
Yeah.
Just set the stage. So there's an astromech that's on the Halcyon.
Yeah,
Right.
Full-sized.
Somehow automatically controlled. I don't know if it's like AI controlled or what, but it'll just go around. It'll like go up to you and beep, 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 and then
And you can talk to it, and it'll give you it back. And so, but they always have a cast member. Or not a cast member. There's cast members, so these are characters, people who have names and you can interact with.
Yep.
And then there's also other cast members.
The crew members. They're
the
basically...
the crew members.
Yeah, they're the ship crew.
They have name tags, but they're not like playing a persona. But
Well, they kind of are, though, because they all are from a certain planet.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yes.
And so, but they're not the main meat of the show. They're
Right.
the NPCs, the non-player character. Well,
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
there's always a crew member walking around with the R2 unit for one reason or another. I'm sure there's some reason for it. So eventually, Bert and I and Jason are standing together. Hunter's off somewhere, and the R2 unit.
I feel like there's something bad about to happen.
The R2 unit comes around.
And we were talking about this before too. Like, where's its restraining bolt, right?
Yeah. So we would do this because Bert initially he sees the droid. He goes, "Boss, droids, can't stand droids. Why they got a droid? Of course they have a droid on this ship." So he's making a deal about it, and we would talk to people, and and Bert's like, "They need to put a restraining bolt on that thing." so it gets around to us, and Bert and I are standing next to each other. Jason's behind me, and the thing comes up and beeps out at Bert and I. And Bert just goes, droids. And the crew member goes, do they have droids where you come from? And Bert goes, well, where I come from, where I live, they do. Frisia, yeah, they have droids. But she goes, and you have a problem with droids? He goes, well, I mean, needs a restraining bolt. And she's like, well, why would it need a restraining bolt? Droids have many uses. And I said, of course. And I piped in, I said, of course they do. They are wonderful labor on Frisia. They add to the economic output. But it's very. I said, but ma'am, you have to understand. Culturally, it's very odd for my security and I to see this. All droids on Frisia have restraining bolts. And she said, well, but there's other uses. And Bert goes like, what? Well, they can be friends. And she's going through a list, and she said, why would you put restraining bolts on all your droid? And totally deadpan, Bert goes, well, they're property. And she just kind of wide-eyed, and she goes, and she goes, this is exactly how she says it. I think you're on the wrong ship. I think I need to go over here now.
Yeah. So she takes the droid and just like, we need to go talk to somebody else.
It's like,
That's because they're property.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
and she walks away, and I look at Bert, he looks at me, and he says, 2 hours. That's all it took. It took me 2 hours to break someone.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's fucking awesome.
And to be fair, this is Bert's character. Bert has an issue with, right? And for my part, yeah, we got a ton of droids on Frisia. They're all workers. That's what they do.
Yeah. I mean, restraining bolts are a thing in Star Wars. I mean, it's not like it's some crazy out there fucking thing.
I mean, look. I may not agree with everything the First Order's done, but they restrain their droids.
Yep, that's right.
Those droids know their place on that ship. So that was
That's awesome.
that will be burned into my brain.
Oh yeah. And the great thing was, like, the next night, we basically had the same conversation with our waitress, because you have the same waitress every night at your table. And yeah, we were telling her, like, I can't remember how it came up with her.
She said this is a cool thing about the Halcyon. The food is amazing.
Oh yeah.
The food is really good. And you have 2 dinners on it. So breakfast and lunch are buffet style.
Yep.
But dinner is served to you, and you get the same server for your table each night. Yeah. And she was right on it. By night 2, she knew she had our drinks waiting for us. The ones that we had ordered the last time, she knew what we liked. I mean, they're really on this thing. She knew that I was a vegetarian. And so she comes. So the second night, we're talking more, and she just sort of says, she's talking about the world she's from. Because Bert or Hunter asked her, where are you from? Oh, I'm from here. And she's talking about it. And she said, but there's many odd things that I've seen being on the Starcruiser, visiting different worlds, many, many odd things, because she was from like some backwater world. And Bert said, I hear you, a lot of odd things. She said, oh, well, what have you seen that's so odd? And Bert, without missing a beat, says, well, the droids don't have restraining bolts. She says, what do you mean? He said, well, they're droids, they're property. Where's their restraining bolts? I don't understand. She's like, and she looks at me, she goes, Senator, I said, on Phrygia, all droids have restraining bolts. Culturally, it's very odd for us to see this here, honestly.
Yeah. And then she also broke.
Yeah,
She's just like, I gotta go.
She goes, let me go get you drinks.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Like they're in the back writing this shit down. Like, oh, fucking droids are property! Exclamation point. Like, here's the sticky note for this week. Clang.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the subreddit for like things that made the characters break for this week.
Yep. But that brings up a good point. We were saying like each of the crew members, not just the cast members, but the crew members, all are from a specific planet. Like there was a couple of crew members that were from Nar Shaddaa, which is where my backstory was. So I talked to them. I'm like, oh, do you ever go back home for the Nar Shaddaa nightlife event every 8th month? And of course they didn't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Because they don't play Old Republic.
Right, exactly. But our waitress was from something that I had never heard of before, and I wanted to look it up, and now I can't remember what it was. It was like the Spire or something like that.
The Spire.
Yeah, which was some kind of like space station that's like,
Yep.
Apparently it's like Coruscant, but it's just a space station, so I need to look that up.
That wasn't the...
It's not the Ring World
No,
that
it's
we
not
saw
that.
in Mandalorian, because that's what I thought it was.
No. What was in the High Republic that...
Might be from that. You'll have to Wikipedia it. But
I don't have that book
I mean,
here.
even the woman running the gift shop had a backstory. I had a 10-minute conversation with her.
Yeah.
Because she walked up and, oh, where are you from? Phrygia. Oh, and you do, we talked about the amnesty program, and she said, I there's a senator I look up to a lot, and I said, oh, well, who is that? And she said, well, Senator Leia Organa. I said, yes, Senator Organa. I served with her in the Imperial Senate, and I've served with her in the New Republic Senate. Such an unfortunate thing to have such a bright future cut short by one's parentage. She was like, oh, because she had not obviously read that book. I was like,
Right.
well, the senator's father was Darth Vader, a genocidal maniac. I don't know how one lives that down. She was like, oh my God.
Yeah, so, depending on how deep you dig with some of these cast members,
Right.
they might be like,
Like, you haven't read the Aftermath trilogy?
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with you?
But by and large, they're all pretty well read. They've got their backstory down.
Yep.
And the cast members themselves, I can't say enough about them. They're all actors.
Yeah.
And in particular, the guy, and they switch around sometimes. So I've seen pictures and videos where some cast members you don't get the same person playing the same role. The guy who played the First Order, Lieutenant Croy, I've had him twice now. And did I tell this story the first time I was on here about the kid who had some...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So same guy again. I mean, he's just in my opinion, he makes that cruise.
He's perfect.
He's great.
They need to cast him as a live action First Order officer
I
in some
agree.
show.
I agree.
Yeah,
'Cause
he's that damn good.
He's really good, and he's not so good that he's massively over the top where it gets slapstick.
Right.
He's just the right amount of over the top, and as the storyline progresses, you can see him like unravel.
Right,
Like,
but
things
that's
are not-
part of the character progression too.
Things are like not going the way he wants them to go, and you can see him, a very orderly human being, like unravel.
Yeah. And he improvises really well because again, he came up to me when we first after he came out and we wanted to go kind of meet him on the ship. I shook his hand and I'm like, "Oh, may I introduce you to Senator Kelly?" He's like, "Oh, Senator," and just he
great.
just immediately was on top of it and was
The person who plays the captain on the Starcruiser 2, I've had her twice now. She's excellent as well.
Yep.
Good memory, like any good captain would have on a Starcruiser.
Yep.
Remembered all the VIPs, so there were people playing high-end people from Corellia and Chandrilla, and she would remember their names. Oh, Senator, so good to see. I mean, she just, she had it down.
Yeah.
She would walk through the main atrium, and every person who was a person of note that she would pass, it was like,
yeah. I can remember one specific time she walked by us and she just goes, "Senator,"
Yep.
and just keeps walking.
Yep.
So
I can't. Well, I've done it twice. I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
But I'm interested more in your take since it was your first time there.
Yeah, no shit.
And yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And when you don't go to a Disney park for a while, you kind of forget just how fucking deep they go and just how much detail they put into all of their experiences. Because I haven't been to a Disney park since 2019 before now. And, you know, as time goes on, you kind of forget. And then, like, immediately, just after we got through the line and we get into that first briefing room and it just all started pouring in, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a Disney experience. This is exactly what we want. And then by the time we actually step onto the Halcyon, oh, it was just... it was great. It was almost overwhelming, honestly. Just the level of detail and everything that you could do to be combined with the fact that we had all these people there that were cosplaying. And to me, the best part of the whole weekend was interacting with the cast and crew members and interacting with the other people that were all there in costume, and just kind of playing our characters. I know this kept getting on Bob's nerves, but every time one of the people who was dressed as a Mandalorian passes by, I'm like, oh, fucking Mandalorians. You know, I kind of say under my breath
I would
because...
just say, Jason, armor envy is so unbecoming of you.
Well, because, you know, as a prior Imperial, I have no love for the Mandalorians. So
Right.
all the people that were there dressed as Mandalorians, it's just like, ugh.
I mean, and people recognize you if you go the little extra mile with your costume and with your backstory. For instance, there was a woman who overheard my shtick early on about having more people go through the amnesty program than any others as a senator. So she was handicapped,
Oh, yeah.
and she was on a wheelchair the whole time. And she's playing a Twi'lek, full Twi'lek gear handicap, and she rolls up and she says, "Senator, I just want to tell you how grateful I am for the amnesty program." I'm like, Twi'lek from Ryloth, happy about the amnesty program? And she points to her wheelchair. It's red. And on the sides where like there's these runners, she's got an amnesty symbol on the sides. Big amnesty symbol, which I didn't even recognize because it was so big. I just thought it was a design. She says, "Well, I'm a former veteran." I was like, "Where were you wounded?" And people will go the extra mile.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And she had a great backstory and just a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So I hear all this, right? And I'm an unfortunate introvert, right? You know, I get into these environments, and you know, it's funny. You know, these airborne guys. There's a level of being on that can be overwhelming, especially with that many people, especially like for people with hypervigilance, right? So the idea of like deliberately interacting with people is terrifying, right?
But you don't have to either.
But this is why I said go with a group if you can, because then you got your crew and you
Right.
can interact with each other, and you don't have to because I would say 60% of our interaction was the four of us. You have the chance to engage outside of that if you want. The other thing I would say is, and this is what makes it so great, which is a shame that people want to put it down. Think about how many people on that cruise were introverts. Think about how many people that
Yeah.
get into this kind of stuff. They're naturally introverts.
Yeah, that's a Star Wars fan in general, you know.
And yet on this cruise, they were in a place where they could totally be something that they weren't.
Yep.
Well, and that's a lot of like cosplay in general.
Yeah.
I think is it allows, you know, cosplay and LARPing and things like that. It allows people that are otherwise introverted, it gives them a modality basically, and which is awesome. I know for me, it's something that, because like for me, and again, this is like a deeper moment than it really needs to be, but like as I listen to this, it's like I really want to have this experience, but at the same time, I don't want to have to interact with anybody, because I know, like, I haven't been to a no shit theme park probably. It's been a long fucking
That time you went out to California with the family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and I was heavily medicated after that because I just had the first hernia surgery. So even then, I wasn't in my proper like headspace, and that was the 4th of July. That was a fucking mess.
But, you know, that's one of the good things about this is you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to interact. You can just stay there. You can watch the stories. You don't have to be in costume. There were a couple of people that were there.
Oh, yeah.
That were not
Yeah,
in
yeah.
costume. They were just there to enjoy it.
I would say a good 20% of that cruise wasn't in costume.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. It's not the costume bit. It's like I said. It's the more. There's a level of, okay, there's this many people here. There's people that are there that are watching you deliberately because they want to be part of your interaction, and it's hard for me. I'm talking about me as an individual, to not pick up on some of those clues and not be like activated. So it's like it's a challenge, but it sounds like so much fucking fun.
It is. The other thing I would tell you is the cast is pretty good at reading the room. Early on, there was a character that I don't even know if you were there, Jason's right when we got on that walked up to Bert and I and started talking to us, Sandro, the guitar player.
Oh yeah. No, I was there.
Yeah.
He was the Mary Allen.
Mary Allen, yeah.
Mary Allen. He had red skin though, but he
Yeah.
had the Mary Allen tattoos.
And I think it was a little too early for Bert to be engaging in anything, really. He was still kind of trying to feel his way around, like, okay, what did I get myself into? What is this? And so Bert wasn't really forthcoming. And he sort of interacted, realized, like, okay, there's nothing here, and then just moved on to another person. So
Right.
they can read the room pretty well.
And that was interesting too, because I certainly didn't know that he was an actual part of the
show.
cast. Yeah, I just thought he was a passenger, and we were just talking. I'm like, oh, and I'm again playing my role, like, oh, I see you. You have the appearance of a Mary Allen, but I'm not used to the shade of skin color. And he's like, oh yes, it's very rare and all this. And then he starts talking to us about like, his music and everything else. And I had no idea he's actually he's one of the actors in the show.
Yeah.
Like we saw him later on during the musical performances and everything.
Why choose the odd skin color? I wonder.
I don't know. He's been read both times I've been on there. I think that's just, I don't know. It's interesting.
He has a
Topic of conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because when
If
I
you're
said that,
at that level of detail, I guess, then yeah, it's something to talk about.
yeah, because he's like, oh, so you're very familiar with my species. I'm like, yes, you're normally like green or blue skinned.
All I wanted to say was, yes, he's conquered many of you.
Shh, we don't have to talk about that part.
So, all I would say, Dave, is for you or anybody on the podcast who's listening who has those same thoughts, there's a place for you there.
Yeah.
I don't like to use this term a lot because I think it gets overused. But if you're a Star Wars fan, it's a really safe spot for you to hang out and interact.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're somebody who just wants to go to a bar and just watch and people watch, you can do that too. Mm-hmm. The Sublight Lounge is a really cool spot.
Yeah.
Has its own. It has its own electronic sabacc table.
Yes, which I posted a couple of pictures in the cantina of us playing the sabacc.
Yep.
In there, and like the whole cantina is just like beautifully designed, and the sabacc game itself is really fun.
Yeah.
In fact, so the second day we go into Galaxy's Edge. It's starting to get pretty hot already. So these guys, so I chickened out on the second day. I didn't wear my full black costume going into Galaxy's Edge, while these guys all did. So they're in these like thick hot outfits, and I'm in my like Darth Vader Hawaiian shirt.
Well, I purposely chose light shirt, light fitting vest.
Yeah.
For Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, so we went into Galaxy's Edge for several hours. Did both rides, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Did a bunch of stuff, went into the stores and all that. And then we get back to the starship, and these guys are like zonked out, especially Bert and Hunter.
Yeah.
They were just like dead tired. We got back to the room, sat down for a minute. Bert's already snoring. After you put on the Family Guy Star Wars.
Yeah, they had not seen the Family Guy Star Wars.
Shut up.
So I was like,
Oh,
well,
that's
I know,
awesome.
I know what we're doing.
Yeah. And my screensaver kicked on. So yeah, and while they're doing that, and while those guys are sleeping, I'm like, I kind of want to go back out and go to the cantina. So I get all dressed up, get back into my black armor, and I go out by myself to the cantina. There was a free spot at the sabacc table. I sit down, order a drink, and I'm playing sabacc, and like a few groups of people roll in, and then at one point, like I cleared the table, like nobody else was there because I was getting really good at it, and I was starting to clean people out. You're not playing with real money though, so don't worry about that. And then like I'm sitting there by myself, and I'm like, well, shit. And then eventually some more people rolled in. I had another full table, and then these guys come back, right? And he rolls in, and he's like, what the hell?
Oh yeah, I just rolled in. I said, "Are we no longer doing security anymore?"
Yeah. So
I
I'm like,
find you here gambling and drinking.
yeah. So I'm like, oh, sorry, Senator. I thought you guys were taking the evening off.
We
And
immediately had to go do something with one of the cast members, and he's like, "Well, I have a drink." I'm like, "Oh, that's fine. I'll wait for you. Obviously, this is about you now. I'm happy to wait for you."
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, let's just do what you want to do in front of like a bunch of people who are
Yeah.
like,
That is awesome.
It was really great.
Black Spire Outpost is Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
Is a great park, and when they take you down there, you get it's a van. It's a van, but
You don't know that.
You don't know that. It looks like a shuttle.
Yeah, you go inside. It's all designed like a shuttle. There's screens that show you like flying through the fucking
Atmosphere.
Yeah.
And then you get to Galaxy's Edge, and so you get let into the park an hour before anybody else does.
Yeah. And you also get a lightning pass for each ride.
For each of the two big rides, the Millennium Falcon and Rise of the Resistance.
Yep.
And then you can come and go back from the Halcyon as much as you want, but you also get a free pass for lunch at any of the restaurants in Galaxy's Edge, so you can have lunch there as well.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so you don't have to leave. And if you're going, my advice to you, having done this a couple of times now, is go do the Millennium Falcon ride first, because it's the quickest one when you get off, and use the lightning thing and you'll get in right away.
Yeah,
You
we
can just
walked
get
onto
it.
the ride.
Yeah, you can just walk right on.
Yeah.
And then from there, go to Rise of the Resistance, which is on the other end of that
Yeah.
Black Spire outpost.
And if it's not broken down, then you'll
yeah,
probably
it was broken for the first 4 hours, and then it was back up.
Yeah.
Then go shopping, get everything that you want, like all the stuff that you want to buy. Go to Droid Depot, ship it all home for $35.
Yeah.
They will ship anything for. It'll cost you anywhere from $90 to $150 at the Halcyon or any of the other park places that you could ship from. But for some reason, Droid Depot's $35.
Yeah.
So that was that was our route. We went in, did both rides. Well, did one ride. We had to do the other one later. Bought all our stuff, shipped it home, built lightsabers, then shipped those home. And then it was like, okay, we got all our stuff. We did all the things we want to do. Now we can just hang out and enjoy the park and wander around.
And then we went into the Oga's Cantina.
Yeah, Oga's Cantina.
Yeah, which is like, it's heavily inspired by the Mos Eisley Cantina. It's, it's a little bit bigger. It's got more going on, but you can see the inspiration.
Yeah, I've seen pictures and videos of it.
Yeah.
Because I think even in the cookbook, remember the cookbook that we got? A lot of the like stock footage that they took was out of that cantina.
Oh, okay.
It was like the Black Spire cookbook. Who gave us that?
Yeah, but it was asses to elbows in there. And even though we had a reservation, they're still like, you got 45 minutes. So
I think they got us in 20, though. It wasn't too bad.
no, but I'm just saying, like, once we got in, they told us we only had 45
you
minutes.
45 minutes. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have 45 minutes to hang.
Yeah.
Which was enough.
Yeah.
It was enough to have like 2 drinks and call it good and hang out. You have to go there. Some of us had missions in there, so we had to get in there and do some stuff while we were in there. So
okay.
Because that's part of the whole Starcruiser experience too. Is you've got all these different missions, people you have to talk to, things you have to do, places you have to go,
in
things you have to
Galaxy's
find.
Edge.
Yeah.
In Galaxy's Edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it pays if you're invested in the storyline. It pays to go visit Galaxy's Edge, and then one of the really gratifying things about doing this was that Bert is in the movie business, so he's an armorer he's done The Walking Dead and Turn and some other stuff.
Okay.
So he's a props guy. That's kind of his business now. That's what he does. And so having him go into all these places and look at all of the minutia that is in all of these buildings was just fascinating, because he's looking at it from a props perspective and thinking, somebody storyboarded this. I'm going to tell you how they made this. I
Yeah.
know how they did this. And then
Yeah.
and his opinion on, like, yeah, this is really good. This is really well done.
Yeah, I just watched an Adam Savage tested video where he was talking about some of the stuff in Galaxy's Edge. Like, you're talking about these things that are out in the weather, right?
Yep.
They're not made of plastic. They're like bronze. They're like these, bronze, like little nitnoid things that are like the expense of it, so that you could look at this small detail and it not fade over time, and like it's that level of detail that they're putting into this thing.
100% agree. The Savi's workshop, the gift shop.
Like deep. Is it? No, it's not Savi's Depot.
Jesus, not Droid Depot, not Savi's workshop. Well, while I'm thinking about that, what did you think about building a lightsaber at Savi's workshop?
Oh, okay. So yeah, let's talk about the build a lightsaber. It's I'm sure you did at Disneyland the one time you went to build a lightsaber, where it's kind of like the cheaper ones.
We didn't.
Okay, well, most people who've probably been to one of the Disney parks before Galaxy's Edge opened and saw like all the different build your own lightsaber stations they had, kind of cheap plastic stuff, but it's kind of neat to like build your own, make your own hilt and your own blade and all this other style.
They're not even as
It's
rugged
not even
as these.
Yeah. It's still fun though. Totally different with this. First of all, the material is good. And I actually just got an email today. My package is going to be here tomorrow. It's got the lightsabers and all that in it.
You got my lightsaber in your package, so I'm gonna need to come pick it up.
We're still talking about Jedi weapons, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So the materials that you're making this stuff with, really, really solid, heavy, good metal feeling materials. And it's an experience. It's like a ride. Or at least at a minimum like a show, like you're watching a show, because you have a reservation time. You go in, you have a certain spot that you stand in, and then they do this whole big presentation. So it's not just like, here's a fucking box of shit, go put something together. It's,
right.
You know, you got to choose your style ahead of time. 90% of the people there chose the Sith style, obviously.
So this is their second series of styles. So they have a first one that's been discontinued. The Sith ones were cool, but I actually think the Jedi ones were cooler.
Okay.
I forget what they were called. These Sith ones, these are pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like these designs are pretty sweet.
Yeah, and I'll show it off next week after it gets here. But yeah, it's an experience. The guy gets there and he does a whole speech. There's the John Williams music playing. They do like pipe in voices, like Yoda's voice pipes in. Like and it's actual Frank Oz talking to you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not just you go in, put a bunch of shit together, and you're done. This is, again, it's like a ride. You know, you go in and it lasts, God, what, 20 minutes or
20,
so?
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So are these like dueling sabers? Like, can you actually like fight with these, or?
Yeah, it would be tough. They recommend that you don't, but they're sturdy. I mean, they are prop, I would say more than prop material lightsabers.
Yeah. And they do have a removable blade. Like the blade pops in and out pretty easy. So I would imagine if you like swing at each other and you break one, you can just buy a replacement. But
yeah, they also have you can change your crystals out. So,
Yes.
So once you get done there, go to Doc Ondar's, which is the main gift shop.
that's the one where we had to wait in line.
Yeah,
for a
we
while
waited
to
in
get
line for, I would say, 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was May the 4th. So there was a new Legacy lightsaber hilt, the Cal Kestis lightsaber from Survivor. The Jedi Wayfinder, that was new from what's it called, the last of the new trilogy.
Oh, Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And then they had a couple other new things. And so there was a long line to get in because everybody was getting these limited edition lightsabers and wanted, I mean, I doubt they sold out on the first day, but you know how
Probably
that goes.
pretty close.
Yeah.
So I immediately got in line. These guys ran around and I just held our spot.
That's when I bought my Black Series figures.
Yeah. And then 35, 40 minutes we got into there. The inside of Doc Ondar's is so well done.
Oh, it's amazing.
I mean, they've just got helmet. I mean, it looks like this semi junk shop.
Yeah.
Just Star Wars junk. Helmets, weapons, like a tauntaun bust and
imagine
mounted tauntaun head.
Yeah, imagine that in that last scene in Mandalorian when he goes into that X-wing bar.
Right, yeah.
Imagine that times 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go in and you can buy a bunch of different stuff. You know, I got walked in and got the Legacy lightsaber. We got some kyber crystals.
Yeah, and the cast member that was there, the girl that was stocking the kyber crystals, I sat there and had like a 25-minute conversation with her about the different crystals and the whole build your own lightsaber. And she's like, "Oh, come back after you build your lightsaber. I want to see it," and all this other stuff. And they were selling. Might as well tell this story now since we're talking about it.
Oh yeah,
they were selling these special edition, or I guess they're almost like loot box kyber crystals, where like it's a red one, but like 1 out of 100 it can be a black kyber crystal.
Okay.
And I wasn't about to try to roll those dice because they're like $17 each, but Hunter, one of the guys we were with, is like, "I'll buy a couple of those," so he bought 2 of them.
Yep.
Right, and I bought a yellow and a white crystal. When we went to build our lightsabers, I made a purple kyber crystal in that one, but I'm like, you know what, I still kind of want a red one. So Hunter's like, "Well, you can have one of these ones." I'm like, "Are you sure? I mean, I can pay you back, or I can buy you a drink or whatever." He's like, "Yeah, sure." So he's like, "But who knows? Maybe one of these will be a black one." I open mine, red crystal. I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. So I'll keep this one." He opens his, black. Ha! Yeah.
Freaking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, he got the golden ticket. So
Well, so and the interesting thing about the crystals is it doesn't make your lightsaber glow black.
No.
It is a little bit of a different sound. I've heard. But you can buy the Sith holocron in Doc Ondar's. They have
Yes.
Jedi and Sith holocrons in their actual size. With the Sith holocron, there's a pop out where you put a kyber crystal in it.
Okay.
And if you put the red one in, I believe there's actually 3 different red ones that have come out, believe it or not. They all look the same, but they're programmed differently. It's one of 3 voices. It's the red ones are either Palpatine's, Maul, or Darth Vader, depending on what series you've gotten.
Okay.
The black one is Snoke. So if you put there, it's Snoke's voice that comes out of the thing. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a little, it's just all of these little detail
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that sort of make the park.
Yeah, and that's where Disney fucking excels at, man. They are so good at creating these immersive environments and these immersive experiences, and they really make you feel so welcomed and just part of everything that's going on, and you just can't top it.
And-
top it.
And there's something very gratifying about being in the park in costume and having people walk up, which happened 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
and
with
say,
these guys when we were walking around the park.
you guys look great.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yep.
I think Bert got the last time I was there in costume. I got pegged a couple of times with people saying, "Do you know where this is?" I'm like, "I don't work here." "Do you know what time the show?" I'm like, "I don't work here." Bert, didn't happen to me this time. I think it happened to Bert though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember him saying, "Yeah, somebody just asked me where something was." I'm like,
I don't know. Do I
so-
look like I work here?
So the rides. Let's talk about the rides for a second.
Sure.
So first of all, you've got the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Right?
Okay.
Yep.
That's what it's called. And there's a whole storyline behind it with like Hondo. You remember Hondo, of course.
Yeah.
Hondo Naka.
Yeah, they've got a really good animatronic of him as you're going into the Millennium Falcon. You got Chewbacca on the view screen, and there's 6 seats when you go in, and depending on which one you sit at, you have a different role, because it's not just like a motion ride. It is a motion ride where it's moving. You got the screen that's moving along with you, but you're actually flying it as well. So you've got 2 people who are at the controls, who are actually flying the thing. One person, I guess, does horizontal. One person does the vertical controls, which that's got to take some coordination.
Okay. That sounds horrific.
Yeah, and then the next 2 people are the gunners. They control the guns and shoot things.
All right.
And then the last one, which is where I was sitting, was the engineers. And you've got a button panel next to you, and anytime the ship needs something, like, shields are down, you got to follow these instructions and push the buttons in the right
Pattern.
pattern and do it. And I actually loved that, because when you're on the Halcyon 2, you have the bridge training. And it's a very similar thing where you control the weapons, control the engineering spot, the shields, and I love the engineering one where it's just you got to push a bunch of buttons in a specific order and flick a couple of switches to where they need to go.
Take you back to your radio operator days.
I
You're
guess
like,
so,
I'm
man.
putting the panel together.
Yeah, no, it was really, really fun, and you're not too distracted. They do enough to where you don't have to engage, to where you can still watch what's going on the screen as you're flying through, but then every once in a while, boom, you hit the side of a fucking mountain and you got all right, I got to fix what they just fucked up.
So I'm trying to think. It's been a hot minute since I was at Disney World, but they had like it was like a rocket demonstration. You were flying to Mars. It was a full motion thing. It was in a cyclotron, basically. And they simulated the G's of the launch by spinning it like this.
Are you sure that's not the old thing from Disneyland from like many, many years ago?
No.
Okay.
This was probably, I want to say 2013, maybe. Yeah, because I remember my daughter didn't go on it because she wasn't big enough. I think was what happened. So it was me and my son, and it was like this Mars mission thing. And you get in, and you were sitting in it like it was a rocket, like you're kind of strapped in, and it did, like you went through the countdown sequence, and each person had a job just like that. It's
Right.
like, okay, you got to do this, and here's part of this part of the countdown, boop boop boop, and you could tell what was like I could tell what was happening, like just that we were spinning. But
this is in Epcot probably, right?
it might have been, yeah,
Oh yeah, somebody in the chat said it was at Epcot.
yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, you're simulating the G's of the launch, and then you do like this mission on target space. Let's go, like, but that engagement, like while you were actually in the ship, was actually pretty cool because it's not just like this feeling of Like, all right, here's the motion.
I'm a captive audience, and here's the motion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, you're interacting with this, and now you're getting a much larger experience. It sounds like they're capturing that.
Yeah, it's basically a motion ride with some more interactivity, where you actually have some control over what's going on.
I can't imagine, like, somebody flying. All right, I'm going to do the vertical, and you do the horizontal.
It's not as nutty as you think. My wife and I piloted it the first time I ever did the ride. And we were at the actual pilots. It's not as crazy as you think. It actually, you sort of get the gist of it after the first minute or two.
Yeah. Oh, but I will say,
I have control issues.
As you're in line and you're going through it, you're walking through the halls of the Millennium Falcon, and you're there, and it's fucking awesome. Like the chessboard's right there, and the little bench seats and everything,
Right.
and it's like
the exposed pipe with like the insulation still being ripped out. You know?
Yeah.
Thing is such a junk bucket.
Yeah.
but it's like, those white paneled walls going
That
through
are
the
not
hallway.
that white.
No.
That need a good scrubbing and cleaning.
Yep.
That's the only thing I ever think of when I walk through that ride. I'm like, what? To quote Luke Skywalker, what a piece of junk.
Yep.
Yep. No, and the idea, like the weathering, like
Yep.
going through and like, God, man, they're so good at doing this. It's like this because it's perfectly new. Like it's newer, it's cleaner than anything that you've probably got in your house right now. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not, but it's clean, and everything else. But they weathered it so perfectly so that when you're looking at it, you don't know the difference.
Yeah. And like there's one part where you pass where the chessboard is and everything, and you're going down that last hall, you turn a corner to where you're going like into the actual ride itself, and behind you is the ladder that goes up and down to the turrets, and you're just like, oh, I want to go up there, but they're blocked off. You can't actually go up.
So you can actually see like, oh, you're sitting with your back like that, but then you're like this. How does that?
Yeah.
Trying to figure that out.
Yeah, we've had that conversation many a times. But just again, the whole experience, it's not just the ride itself. It's the line queue. It's everything.
And Disney's always been really good at that. Like I watched that that documentary, that Innovations documentary, like the however many part series, and they talk specifically about the engineering that goes into just being in line. Like, oh, here's this animatronics that's going to be happening. Like even in the 60s, all right, here's the animatronics. Like they probably still have it. The Toy Story ride with Mr. Potato Head.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Potato Head interacting and everything else. That's all part of the, like, as you're going around through the line and is interacting with you, like all of that stuff that, like, hey, you're not standing there. It's not Great Adventure. You're not standing there bored to fucking tears, just sweating. Mm-hmm. You're actually like being entertained as you're going through this.
Yeah.
And it's that part of the experience.
Yep.
So then Rise of the Resistance is the other ride you get a lightning pass to.
Yep.
So that was down for the first 4 hours, but they were really good about it. They updated your phone when it came back on, and you knew. Mm-hmm. And again, I think we probably walked onto the ride.
Yeah, I don't think we waited more than 5-10 minutes.
What kind of ride is it?
So I got to tell this story because Hunter had a very similar. Hunter had gone to Disneyland out in California where they have the same ride, Rise of the Resistance.
Okay.
And you walk in, and the backstory is sort of like you're fleeing Black Spire Outpost. The Empire's coming. We got to get you on a shuttle and get you out of here because you're Resistance recruits. So they, there's like there's a great holographic image of Rey and videos of actual characters.
And this is Daisy Ridley coming back, filming scenes exclusive for this ride.
Same with Poe Dameron.
Yeah, Boyega.
Yep. All of them. And then they put you in a room, they do the backstory, and then the door opens and it's cast members. Come on, get on the shuttle, go, 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 go. You pass Poe Dameron's X-Wing, the black X-Wing, and you get on the shuttle. And then the shuttle takes off. So I remember, and it's like a small shuttle.
And it's that same shuttle that Leia was in at the beginning of Force Awakens, right? When she lands and Han's there.
Yeah.
It's that same kind of shuttle.
Oh, that weird, like, shoebox looking thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's animatronic pilots in there.
Okay.
And the windows, which are all video screens, are very small. So it's sort of hard to see.
So small.
So small. So I remember the first time I ever went on it with my wife, we had a lightning pass, but we stand in the line for a good while. And when we got on, I remember thinking, you got to be freaking kidding me. I waited like 30 minutes to get into this freaking shoebox, and this is ridiculous. I was like, so the next time we got on it's not just the shoebox, other stuff happens. Hunter, this time Hunter's there, and I said, the first time I got on this, I was pretty angry. He was like, oh yeah, I was about to become a very ugly human being because I had waited like an hour, and I was like, but it does that. It tricks you into thinking, yeah, this is the ride, and you're getting, and the Empire comes to intercept you, and they get the ship. And then the other side opens. The other side of the shuttle opens, and you're walked onto the frickin' deck of a Star Destroyer with all of these rows of stormtroopers standing at attention, and then cast members who are officers like, you stand here, hands over your head. You stand there.
Yeah, you've got these officers. There. You're basically captured. You're about to go get interrogated.
Stand on that line. You stand. How many in your group? 4 stand on the silver line. And then they put you in a holding cell. Like, you go in a holding cell.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was great.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So if I'd stayed in the holding cell much longer, some of the memories might have started coming back. But they keep it moving pretty quick.
You're not in there very long. Maybe a minute.
Like anything outside of that would probably be a spoiler. And I don't want to spoil this for anybody who hasn't ridden it yet. But the whole ride, most people agree it's the greatest ride that Disney has ever created.
It's interactive. There's a point where you're going through a piece of the ship, and you're in a hangar with walkers. And these are not like videos of walkers. It's freaking full-sized walkers.
Yeah, because
you're crossing under, and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, as we're going in there, because you get into a car at some point, and you're actually going through like a regular ride, and you're pulling into this room, and I see them in the distance. I'm like, oh, that's got to be like a video screen. And then we get closer and closer. I'm like, that's real. And you kind of go under one of the AT-ATs, and it's like, holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, and it's just, a very interactive ride, like very immersive ride. A lot of things going on, some video screens. There was a point where we pulled up to some characters that I legit thought that was a video screen of the actual actors. And then I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute, that's a damn animatronic. Mm-hmm. They were that good that I thought that was a video screen of the actual actors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's the best Disney ride I've been on.
Yeah.
Spared no expense.
Spared no expense.
Yeah. But, when after riding the ride, thinking back to when it was broken down for a couple hours earlier in the day, I'm like, I could see that. There's a lot of moving parts here. A lot of things that can go wrong.
Yeah, and for it to break down on May the 4th is like,
we need to get this moving right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the park itself was packed for the first half of the day. It's May the 4th.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But not so bad that it was like horrible.
No.
It was just a lot of people.
Yeah. It did get warm as the afternoon progressed.
So then we went back.
Yeah.
Went back to the AC. Went back to the Halcyon.
Yeah. We got all of our shopping in. Like Bob said, we took our stuff to the Droid Depot. He had initially mailed a whole bunch of stuff, and then I mailed some stuff afterwards. And that he had to put some more stuff in. But I got the email saying that my stuff's coming in tomorrow, the lightsabers and everything. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah. So great experience in the park. And there's still so much more in the park that we didn't talk about either. There's this big shopping district where it's like this hallway and there's all these shops going on either side.
It's an open air market.
Yeah, exactly.
An open air market.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of displays, different ships, X-Wings, stuff. Again, if you're on the Starcruiser, you can scan, and other things that you can, like interactive things you can do within the park. It's so much to do because when they first stood up Galaxy's Edge and I heard about it, I'm like, they've got 2 rides, right?
Yep.
They've got a Star Wars land and 2 rides, and the pictures I saw made it look like a small area.
Yeah.
So smooth.
But no, this place was huge. It was.
It's and I think it's the way they do the foot traffic flow too. It makes it seem a lot bigger, and because there's a lot to do and there's a lot to look at.
In Disney World, it's the footprint of the old MGM, right?
It is the largest park that they've got by square footage.
Yeah, the Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios, yeah. What'd I say, MGM?
Yeah. So then we went back to the Halcyon, had dinner, wrapped up the storyline, and then woke up and had breakfast the next morning.
Yeah, and it was that next morning was the first time we had left the room not in costume.
Yeah.
You know, the morning.
That was what I was saying. We go to breakfast and somebody's still in costume. That's hardcore.
Yeah, and our girl, the gal in the wheelchair, was
Yeah.
did her costume that last morning.
Yep.
So-
She was still in costume.
Yep.
It's probably one of those when you get all made up like that. It's probably tough to
For sure.
all right, I'm gonna do this again today. I'm just gonna sleep like
And
this.
I'm telling you, there was like the lady that was with George Lucas. She was in a full Twi'lek gear, like fully green painted head.
Yep.
The really nice looking Lekus that were attached very well, that looked very natural.
Yeah.
And she came out every single day
Very natural
in that
Or
In that.
costume.
were they very natural?
Her Lekus.
Yeah.
They were real and they were spectacular.
So this was so good that now we're talking about making it an every year thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're talking about booking which means I'm spending my birthday on the Halcyon every year for the foreseeable future, which to me doesn't seem all that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But about going back next year, and this time I think you have to bring Kristen.
Yes.
right?
So the
Because
one
she
comment I
divorce
made,
you.
yeah, as we're starting to like gen up this conversation and think of new ideas, I'm like, okay, guys, here's the thing. Like, if I go back to this place without bringing Kristen first, I might not live to see another day.
Yeah, you
So
won't. There's no way.
yeah.
So-
So either I have to take her back in between, or she's gonna have to come next time.
Just have her come. I mean, she doesn't have to dress up if she doesn't want to or get into all that stuff, but maybe she will.
If we're doing it for the 4th, she's dressing up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Bobby will come back. She'll dress up, and I bring her.
Yeah.
You should come, Dave. Come, bring the wife. It's a year
May
out.
the 4th?
Save,
Yeah.
save up. We could. So that's the thing. Like, I guarantee they'll do this again the next May the 4th. It's going to
Right.
become.
The takeover. Oh, we
Yeah.
didn't even talk about the jumpsuits yet either.
Oh, so Saturday night there was a lot of extracurricular stuff that happened. Everybody got into jumpsuits, or a bunch of people got into the Narkina jumpsuits and took a
From
bunch
Andor.
of pictures from Andor.
Right.
Somebody dressed up as a Biff and showed up at the bar.
Yeah.
Like it was a Jawa showed up at the bar Friday
Yeah.
night.
Full costume.
Or, not
Right size.
The night one, not Friday. It wasn't Friday and Saturday, but the second night. The first night, a full-size Jawa shows up. There was a woman on board who was very small, and she small adult. But she dressed up as a Jawa. Damn good costume.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, the folks that got into the jumpsuits, they did like their own whole one way out thing where they're running through the fucking thing. And again, this was all like user generated content. This was not something that the Halcyon crew put on. This was something that these people that all decided we're going to take over. The Starcruiser for this weekend.
Just like a pop up.
There was
Yeah.
a user generated invite only high stakes sabacc tournament.
Yep.
So
Which
like-
we got invites to that.
Yeah, we were just too tired. But
Yeah.
it was really late at night. But you had to talk to the people running it. They had to interact with you, decide that they liked you, and then they gave you like a card. They're like, come back tonight. We've got something that might interest you. And there was apparently a high stakes. They provided all the credits and the cards and high stakes sabacc tournament there in the Sublight
Yeah,
Lounge.
in fact, they're the guys that I was playing with, Sabak, when I was out there by myself, when he came back
so
into
when
the
I
Star
came
Cruiser.
out, I was like, no, it's fine. It's all about you. Obviously, you're the senator now.
Yeah.
And they got up and they said, well, we were going to invite him, but as you seem to be a man of means here.
Yeah,
and-
so they gave him the
card.
invitation and everything. So it was,
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
yeah, it was great, man. And
You were stone cold. You were like a sabacc shark, man.
I was getting there. Like I was
You were
really
a
picking
good
up on the
player.
rules. Yeah.
I mean, it's basically it's a fun game. It's a combination of blackjack and go fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was telling Dave, like when we do this big meetup in August, with all of our listeners and stuff, we need to put on like a Sabacc tournament, I
Totally.
think.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we just need to figure out what we need to make that work.
I've got
Luckily, I know somebody who
I've got
who has
a
some
bunch
stuff.
of chips. I've got some Halcyon chips.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of sabacc decks, so
Nice.
this can be done.
Yeah, because as we're flying down to Florida, Bob pulls out, as we're on the plane, Bob pulls out his Sabacc deck. He's like, all right, you want to learn how to play? Like, shit. So, yeah, for an hour, we played Sabacc on the plane as we're flying down to Orlando.
So you were ready to go when you got there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then we left day 3, 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it was sad to go, as we're packing up and everything, like, oh, man, can't believe it's over already.
Yeah, but you were there for longer, right? Because you saw
Well,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Then we went to Universal Studios. We stayed at the Hard Rock, and we
Okay.
went into the park for a couple of hours. Saw Dungeons and Dragons again.
Yep.
Because
Worth it again.
Because we had sort of done the park, and our room still wasn't ready. So we're like, well, let's go find a place with air conditioning. Movie theater.
Yep.
Then we went back, and then we came back and saw Guardians of the Galaxy that night. Guardians 3.
Yep.
So how was Guardians 3?
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was a
it's
fun
a good
movie. And, as we're watching it, it was, without giving much in the way of spoilers, there's a lot of things that would make animal lovers kind of uneasy.
Yeah, until the end.
Yeah, until the
then-
end.
And then the redemption comes.
Yeah, but I'm watching that. I'm like, oh wow, this is actually kind of some powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And then since then, I've seen a bunch of news articles talking about people need to be a little more mindful when they're thinking about bringing like young kids to this movie and stuff because of some of these sensitive.
Well, Guardians of all the Marvel movies has always been the like PG-13 movie in
Sure.
my mind. I mean, it's got a lot of adult content.
Oh yeah, they dropped an F-bomb in this one.
They did. I saw that. They
Yeah.
got their one.
Yeah,
to keep
so
their-
I was
snuck
shocked.
their one in there.
They
yeah.
snuck it in. It was tastefully done.
Yeah, but I'm shocked that Disney let them do it. Honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I think they realized Would you believe there's not an app for Sabak to
Really?
like play
That is kind of
Sabak?
surprising.
Well,
Is it?
I'll search around. It's got to exist somewhere.
There's got to be one, right?
Hey, if there's not, there you go to your viewers. Somebody go make that app.
Yeah, somebody make
You'll
that.
clean up.
And
No,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say like the. Fuck. No, I totally lost my own train of thought.
we were talking about Sabak, the movies.
No, with Guardians, I think you get, or Disney in general. I think you're just, hey, you can't just live in this PG world. Like you're making these movies with more adult themes.
Yeah.
Andor obviously is not. It's not
Not for kids.
Not for kids.
Not for
It
the
is-
youngsters.
That is a PG-13 at the fucking
Bare
you know,
minimum.
at the minimum. So you have to live in and you have to let this breathe and get more like, okay, Disney, like we're going to Disney something. It's kind of like nerfing something, right? But you have to kind of live in a real world.
That's something that's made me really happy about what Disney's done with things like Andor or The Mandalorian or Guardians. They've a lot of times now when you get that R rating, it's for gratuitous nudity and sex, right? Like
Right.
that's what gets you that R rating most of the time, or just
Right.
a litany of really crappy language.
Yeah.
Both of which, it's just a personal preference. Both of which don't really do much for me. Like there's certain directors that I think can pull it off. Like Quentin Tarantino, that's his thing, right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
boxed that out. But in general, if you've got to use a ton of profanity to get your point across in anything, let alone a movie, it's sort of
You obviously don't listen to this show.
yeah, and if you've got to do gratuitous sex and all that, it's just like Disney's managed to do this right without either one of those things by and large, which takes some skill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I tip my hat to them on that. I mean, Andor should be rated R for a whole lot of adult reasons.
yeah, no shit.
And there's no cursing in that I can remember. I don't think there's cursing in any Star Wars movie.
There's a shit in Andor.
okay.
Because you get the sergeant, the one that's kisses the
Oh,
lieutenant's
right,
ass all the
right,
time.
right. Yeah.
He stands there.
Oh, shite. Yeah, but
you gotta
but
say-
he's,
but it-
but
still.
he's culturally Scottish, so that's
Right, that's-
It's not really a curse word.
Right.
Dude, as a sidebar, so I'm listening to oh fuck, it's Frank Murphy's biography from I think I talked about it last week. I read Masters of the Air about the 8th Air Force.
Yep.
So Frank Murphy's one of the bomber pilots from the Bloody Hundredth, and so this is his biography, and he's talking about how getting into England, how the Americans and the British basically perfected the F word, like because they used it for everything, and this is like in World War II. Like I think there's this part of us that wants to put the Greatest Generation on this
Right,
like pedestal of
right.
like this being this ultra clean, but coming from his mouth, as somebody who was there, Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, we use the F word for everything, and I'm like, oh, well, see, maybe
go.
that explains why it just trickled down,
There you go.
through the Army Air Corps into the Air Force and into my mouth and out into the airwaves, as every possible which way to use the F word. So,
Well, and then we flew home at ridiculous hour.
Yeah, I think we had a
Dark 30.
Yeah, 06 takeoff.
Yeah,
So we had to get checked out of the hotel. So we were up at 4 that morning.
that was a rough day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, like I was in the pull-out bed that we had in the room because we were all 4 in one room. There was a set of bunk beds, the one queen bed, and then the one kind of like fold-out bed. But it was like in the wall and it folded out. It was actually pretty cool the way they designed
Bunk
it.
beds were pretty cool too.
like a Murphy bed, or
Yeah. And I never get good sleep whenever I'm anywhere other than home. You top that on with the fact that we were up late pretty much every night. We were up early pretty much every morning.
yeah, the fact that you were answering text messages at like past 10:30 at night, I was shocked.
Yeah.
because usually this dude he clocks out at 2100.
Yeah.
That's it. If there's a red after 2100, it's probably bless you. It's probably some drug induced friggin' thing.
Yeah.
Response.
And you're wired too.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're just like on this high because
Oh, I
again,
can imagine.
you're just engulfed in everything Star Wars, and it's all day, and it's great. It's all good stuff, and
Sorry.
yeah, and you're so amped up. So yeah, I got like maybe 3.5 hours of sleep. Those first 2 nights when we were actually at the Starcruiser, a little bit more when we got to the Hard Rock, but we still had a very early wake up, and we were out fairly late that night because we were seeing the movie, and then we were just kind of walking around doing whatever, and then just like bullshitting afterwards in the room. And
How was that Hard Rock? Was it decent?
Yeah, it was a nice hotel.
I liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a nice hotel. And it's a 5-minute walk to the park.
Yeah,
which
you
is
can
really
you can
super
walk
nice.
to Universal from there, so it's
My brother-in-law works for Hard Rock.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the one in AC is super nice.
Well, if you ever go to Universal, like see if he can score you cheap
Yeah.
cheap reservations because that one's a nice spot.
I don't know. I'm a Hilton guy. I like
I hear you.
I like earning my Hilton points.
I will
or
say-
burning my Hilton points.
I will say it was also nice traveling with a fellow well-traveled person in Bob because you and I have traveled
God.
around this world multiple times, and we've traveled with people who aren't seasoned travelers,
Oh
and it
my
can be
God.
frustrating sometimes.
Traveling with the peasants is fucking awful.
I mean, Bert and Hunter obviously are military. They can travel
Right.
fine. And
Yeah.
and I, I've been on every continent except Antarctica and what's it called? Australia, right? So
How have you not made it to Australia in all your travels?
That's next year. We're gonna go to New Zealand and Australia.
I was gonna say, that's a
sorta in the
crime,
cards.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna go to. Well, I'm doing the New Zealand Lord of the Rings
Okay.
tour.
Oh,
And I want to
nice.
try and do it on horseback for part of it because there's a whole thing where you can do. So I'm stoked. We're working on that right now.
New Zealand's fucking
I mean-
amazing.
I've heard the problem is you kind of got to take like 2 weeks and do it like a block, like not just 2 week, like you got to take 2 weeks on the ground.
Yeah.
So we're working on that now. Yeah, and then we flew home, and I watched, Visions season 2 on the way home.
Yeah, he watched the whole thing on the
because it's about
2-hour flight.
it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes with all the episodes if you skip the credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got done with 15 minutes to spare, looked over at you, and you were like, "How'd you like it?" And I was like, "It's not doing it." For
Well,
me."
hey, before we talk about that,
Yeah,
let's do this.
Oh, all right.
The sign's not over here.
got it.
I see. We'll just show that to the people watching. God, we need to make a new sign.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna take a very quick break, finish up this discussion, maybe talk a little Visions since we got into it. So we'll be right back after this very quick word from our sponsors. I'll turn on the AC. Just at least while we're on break.
We're not recording or anything, right?
We actually are still live, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Anything you say can and will be used against you. But, What was I gonna say to you? Crap, I don't remember. Oh, did you get that deck? The commander deck?
Yep.
Okay.
I got
yeah.
it.
I didn't even know it was a thing until like yesterday. Rob came up to me. He's like, "Hey, you gonna get that new Secret Lair Commander deck?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So he showed me the link. He said, "Yeah, it's gonna go on sale at some point on Monday. Limited availability, all that stuff." And
Are there new cards in it, or is it all reprints?
it's all reprints,
with
but
different artwork.
yeah, and it's based on like flip cards. So
I wonder if there's some staples in there, because that alone could make the price tag worth it. Like if there's an alternate version of Ristic Study in there.
ooh, that would be good.
You
I'm
know.
pretty sure they spoiled the whole deck list.
Text it to me.
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll text it to you. But I'm pretty sure the whole deck list is out.
Oh my god.
You good?
Now.
All right. And Bob, do you need a break at all?
I'm good.
Okay.
Woo! I feel better.
All right. Dave's going to make it. All right. Well, I guess whenever you're ready, Dave, give us a countdown and we'll get back to it.
Just gonna leave the AC running till the
Yeah,
end of the
I'll
countdown.
leave it going until the very end.
All right, ready, set, go.
And we're back. So,
That clap wasn't enough.
I know. It's kind of... There we go.
I need that spike.
Do you?
I need that.
Oh, to see it when you're doing the
to see
audio?
it when I'm doing the edit. Like I never appreciated it as much until I was doing the edit for the podcast. I'm like, this is why he does the clap.
Yeah.
I get it.
There's a method to the madness,
Yes,
believe it or
yes. Because trying to eke out like, okay, here's where the countdown is. Where does it end? When everything you're looking at all the frequency is all like kind of mashed together. Yeah, it's I get it. I get it now. I
Yeah.
feel your pain, Jason.
not. So, since you brought it up, Bob, let's talk a little bit of Vision Season 2 real quick.
Right.
And real quick, meaning real quick, because...
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like everything in Vision Season 1, but there were at least a few episodes that are memorable to me.
Yes,
and
right,
The
I
Ronin
agree.
episode,
Right.
But there's a couple others. And it felt like the Visions Season 1 was done in a way that it was billed to be as, which is this is non-canon.
Yep.
It's like alternate reality Star Wars, right?
Right.
Vision Season 2 was like, it felt like canon, and the stories didn't feel all that engaging.
Well, it felt like they were trying to all tell kind of a similar story.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that idea.
Everything was like,
They
"Hey,
were
we're
all-
coming for your children."
Yeah.
type story.
Yeah.
right. Even the Sith story, like midway through, which one was that?
That was the only one I really liked, actually. The one, it was the second episode, I think, where...
not the painting one.
No, the painting one was interesting.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and it started the way it started was like, okay, if it keeps this if it goes up from here, then
yeah.
I'd be all right. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not all right. I get the painting bit, but all right, let's just go up from here, and then it didn't.
They had the only one I really liked was the one with the three kids from the workhouse, and they go and they find that Sith woman in the cave, and they kill her, and then the ship lands, and because it's meant to be like this feel good story until the end where it's like, oh, she's gonna go become a Sith.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
nice twist on that one.
But the rest of them, first off, I'm not a big like claymation fan, like Wallace and Gromit, that kind of stuff doesn't do a lot. And there were several of them that were in that vein, and it doesn't do anything.
So
me.
what was funny was like the Wallace and Gromit one, the I Am Your Mother one. I didn't hate it because it wasn't trying to be anything.
Yeah,
it was probably
that's
the
fair.
only one that was not trying to like be this super overt thing.
Yeah,
like
but-
hey, here's one for the kids. Like, show it to your kids. It's
One
not,
for the kids?
well,
the dance.
no, because I think all the other ones were trying to like tell this like higher level of story.
The dancer one was interesting.
The dancer one.
The one where
the
she's
spy
a spy
dancer?
Yeah, and then the guy and the Zabrak with his or whatever they are, alien race, and they cut his horns off, and he's
Yeah.
And then also the one that was like straight Japanimation, where it's.
But that was another one that I think
it
that's like,
seemed-
hey, it started with a like conceptually, it's like, okay, we're going somewhere with this,
Yeah.
and then
there's no story.
no, there's
Like,
nothing.
There's no payoff with the Sith character. You're like, okay, so what was the point?
You had 5 minutes of like this. Okay, you've got 10 more minutes to not. Oh, you fucked it up. God damn it! Like you fucked it up. No, I agree. I think the second one with the girl, like this call to the darkness type thing, and then like she kills the fucking screaming old lady, takes the fucking lightsaber, and then like it gets, hey, I'm gonna go be a fucking Sith.
She's like, well, in her mind, I think it's like, I'm not going back to the workhouse. Anything is better than
Right.
this
Yeah, pretty
later
much.
on.
Peace out.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm out. By the way, side note for whoever it is that's giving you guys or the Halcyon or Star Wars in general crap, this is the way to critique Star Wars.
Right.
Right? Like, we're not like, oh, they made a season of something we're not crazy about, therefore the entire Star Wars
Right.
universe is going in the wrong direction.
Right.
This is it. This is the thing that's done it for me.
Star Wars is dying.
It's done. It's just look, they didn't for me, and it sounds like for the three of us, like they didn't hit the mark with this one.
No.
Yeah, and some of you out there may like it, you may enjoy it, and if you do, great, that's great for you, and I'm happy that you enjoyed it. Me personally, there was only one of these that I actually got any enjoyment out of.
Yeah.
But again, I will say, like I've said this before, I didn't watch the whole thing and feel as though I'll never get those 2 hours of my life back. It's just, nah, it's not my favorite.
No, it's just what I think what took away from my enjoyment more was I wanted Ronin. Like even when Visions
Yeah.
2 came out, like I'm like fuck, I got emotionally invested in this character,
Yeah.
and
Then
I read the book, and I'm like fuck, man, I want to.
The book's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to get it.
They just need to do another thing with
Yeah.
it, like a 30-minute short, 40-minute short. You
Yeah,
know?
grab that guy and do more.
Yeah.
Do more
By the
of
way,
it.
Side note: so we're sitting in Galaxy's Edge,
Oh, yeah.
to get into Oga's Cantina, and I'm saying, you know what would be hilarious? Somebody should do Ronin, and I said it'd be cool because it's black and white, so you can really decide what colors you want to use, and you can go all different. And he's
Right.
not. Nobody knows he's a Sith till he pulls his lightsaber out, or a former Sith. So he's probably not in black. He's probably. I was like, so you can get really cool with that. And as soon as I'm saying it, guy walks by cosplaying Ronin. I'm like,
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, like we just finished having that conversation, and there's a guy dressed as the Ronin.
So how was he like?
his lightsaber looked great.
I didn't see his lightsaber.
His lightsaber looked like, but the cosplay was not. It looked like a bathrobe and a really crappy drawn on
Yeah.
mustache. And but,
It,
but
it can definitely
like-
be done better.
like them,
but
like tried to show him like a mechanical jaw type
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, it didn't look good. But anyway, but I give him props for doing it.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's one of those like, hey, this is a very
It's
deep
a-
character.
yeah.
You know, it's I really that's my when they said, oh, there's going to be all 9 new things. I'm like, okay. I will say this too. It wasn't. There was in the first one. I think there were more of them that I really went, huh? Than this one where I felt like as I watched all of them, like, okay, they're all kind of telling me the same story.
Yeah.
it was very disparate in
Yeah,
the other ones.
It
Yeah.
seemed. It almost felt like. I hate to say it, but it felt like Lucasfilm issued an order to every one of these animation studios, like, your main character is going to be a female. She's going to be very strong, and she's
didn't-
going to get entangled with the Force
I
somehow.
didn't get that. I just got the "we're coming for your children" thing.
Well,
more,
yeah,
more
that
so
too.
than I got the strong female character. But I guess they were all female.
Yeah, every main character in this maybe except for the pit, but even after the guy dies, like his sister is now the main character. So like yeah, every main character in this was a female, which is whatever. There's females out there, I guess. But the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, who are you marketing to? Like, who's your audience with this?
The Indian one was interesting, but
That was my favorite one.
I'm way into Indian culture, so that was very that was super interesting.
The animation on that I thought was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Like, I would love to see them do an animation series in this style because I thought it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought it was a little creepy.
Really?
Yeah. You know what else? It's so I get creeped out with the Polar Express.
Oh.
And it reminded me of the Polar Express. I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Now, what did you think? I specifically wanted to ask you, the third one, the In the Stars, there was the scene where the TIE fighter's coming in and the girl's like trying to stop it with the Force or whatever. Like, what did you think of that iteration of the TIE fighter? Just eh?
Yeah. It had this weird thing in the center of the fucking in the center of the glare shield. I say glare shield, but right in the center of the window.
Yeah.
Like it had some weird accoutrements, and I'm like, okay. It's not like one of those like I need to have a Lego variant of.
Okay.
Now, saying that, if one came about, I would procure it because it is a variant of the TIE Fighter, and I'm a completionist with the TIE Fighter, so
Got to buy him. I got to buy him.
yeah. I would have look. There's so much. Let's swing back to Galaxy's Edge real quick.
Okay.
Let's swing back. Was there? I was a little disappointed, Jason, that I didn't get more pictures back of like, hey, here's more shit in the shops. Like, I was hoping to see more, like, oh, here's some exclusive pops or here's some Legos.
I was looking for pops specifically. Didn't see anywhere in any of the stores that we went to.
No shit.
But we didn't leave Galaxy's Edge either.
Yeah.
So, like, if we had left Galaxy's Edge and looked at some of the other stores throughout the park, maybe there would have been some.
Yeah,
but I was under an edict to not leave Galaxy's Edge.
Well, and I would want Galaxy's Edge focused ones anyway.
Yeah, but they didn't have any. Like, trust me, that whole like shopping district that I was talking about that they had, like, I went into every store and I was looking for things like pops and Black Series figures and all that. Didn't see anything because I was ready to like take pictures if I saw any like park exclusive pops, but they just didn't have them.
And no Lego. Like, was there any exclusive Lego stuff that was out?
No, nothing like that.
Did they do? So did they do anything for? Look how quickly we're moving away from the Visions thing. Did they have anything specific for Return of the Jedi, like the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi?
Not really. I heard that there was a Return of the Jedi Legacy lightsaber.
Yeah, Luke's, right?
But it's the same one that they issued. I think you just get a stand with it or something. Like there was a package deal if you wanted to do that. But no, I didn't really see much from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. And surprisingly, I mean, aside from a couple of the new merch items, the park itself, they didn't really do anything for May the 4th. They didn't really bring it up much during the Starcruiser.
Well, they did an after hours thing, which we couldn't go to because we were on the Starcruiser, but they had a whole after hours thing that happened.
Galaxy's Edge.
At Galaxy's Edge. So you're on the Starcruiser, you don't get to go to that, which is okay.
Yeah, we were in the better spot anyway.
I agree. Wholeheartedly.
But yeah, no, they didn't do anything special or extra that, from what I could tell, specifically for the May the 4th. Now, this was only the second May the 4th since the Starcruisers opened.
Yep.
I don't know if they did it much last year, but it seems like from here on out, it's going to be a pretty big event on the Starcruiser. People getting groups together and going.
But that was user driven, right? That wasn't
Yeah.
Starcruiser driven.
Yeah,
well,
but-
what I'm saying is, though, because this is probably going to keep happening year after year, maybe
They'll co-opt
they
it.
will adopt some sort of special.
Well, I can see the other side of that, where if you're like, okay, if we make May the 4th a big deal all the time, then we're going to book out May the 4th, you know, and then it's going to start becoming, I don't know, start becoming one of those dates that gets, it gets booked out. Now it's an exclusive date, and now
I think what may happen if this runs for many years is just by user it may become an exclusive date. Not unlike, hey, ever try to go, skiing over Christmas? It's like insane. Trying to find a place is tough and it's expensive, and I mean, so
because everybody's
everybody,
has the time off, so that's when they take their vacations.
Yeah, and for Star Wars fans, that's when you're going to take your vacation time if you want to go do that. So,
Yeah, unfortunately, as people like my wife and I, like her office, her vacation time is directly correlated to when her office closes. So it's like over Christmas break and over the 4th of July. So that's when we do all our traveling.
Yeah.
Is during that time frame. Like we went to Ireland last year. We're going to Hawaii this year. So
Carve off 3 days of PTO time and just steal away to the Starcruiser with us next year.
that's, I mean,
Sounds like a great idea.
time off for me isn't the issue. Well, I mean, potentially, but that's I can do things.
Yeah.
Her is another matter, and again, I kind of run into the same issue with that you have with Kristen, where it may be a problem if I go without her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only reason Jason got away with it is because I think you were able to use the excuse. It's my friend's 40th. He invited me.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Right.
just guys going. Like
Yep.
this
Right.
is
That was like that one time good deal. Now subsequently it's
Yeah.
not a surprise. Now it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, trust me, I still spent a half an evening in the doghouse, after
I'm
I
sure
made
you
the
did.
announcement. But
Next year-
eventually
next, 6 months from now, Jason goes, Kristen, you'll never guess. Bob's turning 41. He's going to Starcruiser. I've been invited.
it should be like just do something for 42. That way it's like, well, it's the answer. So now we have to go.
yeah,
do
it's
Yeah,
the
no,
answer to
yeah,
life,
it's
the
the
universe,
answer,
and
yeah.
everything.
It's
Yeah.
obviously.
We're going to get lynched.
Hopefully. Is anybody still watching?
Yeah. So, all right, really quick, let's wrap up Visions. Any last thoughts on Visions? Because for me, this season being as lackluster as it was, it makes me not excited for any more of these. After the first season, because we had that kind of diversity in what we got in these stories, I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool. I wouldn't mind seeing another season. Now, this season fell completely flat for me, so I'm like, I don't ever have to think about Visions again in my life.
This is look, these are 15-minute shorts. They could make these every 3 months, and they're probably not losing any money.
I don't know, man. Some of these look like they were probably pretty expensive to make.
Yeah, but Disney's not necessarily fronting all the money for
Yeah,
that.
these are separate studios. This is supposed
Yeah.
to be, if you remember the first Visions, it was a way to showcase artists that wouldn't normally get get Star Wars work.
Right.
Which I thought was a cool and interesting thing. But to my point earlier is my final thought. They were showcased in such a way that it wasn't it really, you felt like it wasn't canon. You felt
Right.
like this was something alternative. This time around, it was like, oh, we're telling a story about worlds that have been under the thumb of the Empire and what's
Yeah.
going on.
Or
around there.
characters like Wedge. Like Wedge is in one of
Oh
these.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wedge is in one of them. So
But it's very tongue-in-cheek
Sure.
It
with
is,
Wedge.
yeah.
But it's like now they're like making it way closer to canon, which like
yeah. So
I don't know.
See, I'm on the other end of that. Like, I'm at a point with this where it's like, you can make these and I'll watch them because it's not a huge, like, you put out 9 of these and
2.5 hours later.
yeah, if I watch 15 minutes of it here, 15 minutes of it there, like, I'm not losing anything. Like, and it's not necessarily costing me as a Disney stockholder or anything. Go ahead, keep putting this out, because if you get Ronin, if you get a winner
Right.
out of it, then fuck, it was great, and it gives a content creator an outlet that may not otherwise get it. So
true.
for that, it's worth it.
Yeah,
Even if
I can see that. I can
and
see that.
somebody's gonna like this. Somebody out there is going to go like, oh, I really enjoyed that. Like, and honestly, the Wallace and Gromit one, which I thought was like, I think it needed to be funnier. I want to make a funnier. Like, if you're going to do that animation style, make it funnier.
Yeah.
Like, go full fucking blown slapstick with
Yeah,
that. 'Cause
instead
that's
that
what
was
I'm expecting.
Yeah, that was just a very cliched, predictable episode.
Right.
That one.
Yeah.
With the one.
Like,
Wallace
mom's
and Gromit.
embarrassing, or
Yeah,
whatever.
but then eventually they win the big race.
yes, of
Yeah,
course.
so
Evil. What I did like about that, though, did you notice the individual ships in that? Like, they had the fuck, I can't think of the name of the ship right now. Holy fuck. Cal Kestis'
Oh
ship.
yeah, they had the I know what you're talking about. They,
Oh
had,
my
they had
God.
the ship from Survivor in there
Yes.
and Fallen Order. Yep. Yep.
The Mantis.
Mantis.
Yes, so they had a little version of the Mantis, and they had the little Sith. It was the
it looked like it was like a black version of the Naboo starfighter. Or the star.
It was the
By the way, did you notice?
Words.
in that one there was a harkened back reference to A New Hope? So the Wookiee family is across from the one of the other families at the starting line, and the Wookiee kid has got like a little doll in his hands, and I think it's a droid doll actually.
Yeah.
And the kid looks over and makes a face at him, and the Wookiee kid just looks over and tears both the arms
Pulls
off.
the arm off. And the kids close the canopy and go click. And they like lock the doors.
Oh, I will say the part I did like about that episode was the guns on the Sith, the bad girls ship, the little Death Star. Yeah, I thought that was actually pretty clever.
So I like if you're going to do stuff like that. If you're going to have that animation
Yeah, I
style,
guess so.
similar to something that's like comedic, like I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
like
Right.
it's 15 minutes. It's not taking it. It's not hurting me. Like show me on the Star Wars doll where it hurt you, and this one it didn't. It just these didn't hurt me. I want please.
So what you're
Let
really saying,
Ronan breathe.
So if Ronan got his own stuff, then you wouldn't care about these.
Well, no, I'd
Or you'd hope there's another.
I'd hope there's
Ronan-esque.
another gave Ronan the opportunity to exist.
Yeah,
because it came out and then there's a book produced. Now give it something else.
Yeah, you know what? I could see. I guess if I knew this was going to be used as a farm team, I could be appreciative of it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, it's the farm team. Not all these are going to hit, but you get one good idea every 2 to 3 years and you're
run
good.
with it.
Yeah, I could. See
I just wish they would run with it.
Yeah.
Like they started to. I mean, I keep pointing to the pops. I got the Ronin pops up there.
I know it's my favorite pop.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wore the Ronin shirt last week. I was going to wear it again, but
Where'd you get that? I need to get that shirt.
it came with one of the pops. It was a Target exclusive.
All right, I'm gonna have to look this up.
Yeah,
And it came with a shirt.
yeah. I pre-ordered it from Target
Nice.
when it came out. Yeah, dude. That's unhealthy. I'm thankfully, God damn. So I was fucking at light speed with the pops, and I've managed to go back to Flight Idle.
You gotta temper
Pull back.
yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Well, but then now there's a Lego issue.
Sorry, we talked about that.
Yes.
already.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm getting you the Star Destroyer for your birthday.
Oh, man.
God. God help me.
So just real quick too, I want to step back to the Starcruiser and the week that we had, because it was unbelievable. It was the week of a lifetime, a memory I'll have for the rest of my life, and I really have you to thank for it, Bob. I mean, I'm so grateful for you for inviting me and having me out there as your guest for a pretty big occasion, and then you surround it with all of this just fantastic Star Wars material and just this real nice atmosphere, and it was perfect. Like I hope it was good for you, because I can tell you I had the time of my life.
I was
this
really.
week.
It's nice to be surrounded by people that get you.
Yeah.
That's what makes Star Wars fun. Is when you're around Star Wars fans. Typically, you kind of all get each other on at least some level. You can have different political views, different cultural backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different everything. But on some level, you get each other, because ultimately most people like this for a lot of the same reasons. And so to spend my 40th with people who got me was more than I could have ever wanted. I was really appreciative to have the three of you with me. And as a side note, I was really appreciative, and I didn't. It's not the reason I did it, but in thinking back, all three of you are vets, and it's nice to look. I've done pretty decently in my life, and I've been really blessed and fortunate, and so, like, I can go and do, a lot of different things, and my wife and I can travel, and we've got a nice life. So for me, it wasn't about, what do I want for my 40th? Like, I can, if there's something I really want, I'm in a good position. I can order it on Amazon. I can, and how many people in the world get to be in that position? I'm a really lucky, fortunate guy. So I often think, birthdays for me have often become about sort of like if you ever read The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, the hobbits have this, this habit, of on their birthdays, they give gifts to their friends. So for my 40th, I really thought like, well, what would I want to be able to give to somebody else? And like the three of you guys are vets. You made the ultimate sacrifice to do something for this country. And you're my really good friends. So if I can give you guys a really great experience, then I get a lot of joy out of that. That's the payoff for me, is like my friends, people who I appreciate, people who I look up to, they get a great experience. It's a huge payoff for me. So I was really, really happy, and I felt very fortunate to have the three of you around me.
Oh, good. And, like I said, I couldn't have imagined things going better than they did. Everything went flawlessly. It was just so much fun. And even meeting Bert and Hunter for the first time. Really good guys. I'd never met them before this. Really enjoyed their company. And it was great seeing Bert, go back to that 8-year-old kid.
Yeah,
he
walked on to the Millennium Falcon, it was 11-year-old Bert.
Yeah.
It was which is what a good saga, a good epic, and a good park, good experience will do for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, again, thank you so much, Bob, and
my pleasure.
I hope it was the 40th you had always hoped for, because it was awesome for the rest of us. I can tell you that much.
Then it was the 40th I always hoped for.
All right, and yeah, like I said, I am down going for the 4th as often as I can. So if
Awesome.
we need to start.
I already sent Sarah an email and said how early to Starcruiser book.
Nice.
I'm just gonna block rooms out.
Probably pretty early.
Yeah.
I would
just gonna
imagine.
block rooms out.
Yep. So, Dave, any last questions for us, or any last comments?
No.
As you've been kind of just sort of
No, I've just been
the spectator
learning.
on this one.
Yeah, I've been learning.
Yeah.
So no, nothing. I got
Hopefully, I've given you enough courage that you might join us next time around.
The courage is the
Maybe that's the wrong word.
the
but
courage is getting bringing the wife on board.
Got it. So,
But if Kristen's going,
encouragement. How's
right?
that?
If Kristen's going, then that,
Right, and Bobby will probably go.
Yeah,
so
so-
they can all. So while we go off and cosplay or LARP for 2 days, they can go sit at a bar and have wine
yeah.
or whatever else.
They
want.
serve some very nice drinks.
Oh, they are not. I mean, I don't drink alcohol, but Bert and Hunter are from North Carolina and know a good old fashioned. And apparently, according to them, they are not stingy on the pours.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can appreciate a good old fashioned.
They drank many a pod racer.
Yes, they did.
Nice.
And what was the non-alcoholic one we were drinking?
The Night Sister and the Mustafarian.
Yeah, the Night Sister, which was like super sweet and sour, like a sour blueberry or blackberry type drink.
It's good. It's
yeah,
my drink of
it's really
choice.
good. But yeah, they also have like alcoholic stuff. They have wines and things like that. So
Nice.
anything for anybody to enjoy. So that being said,
All right. We got some tail end business
yep. Well,
to get through.
first off, next week we're getting back to the music episodes. We're doing the music of 96. 96. So
What happened in 96?
that was a weird year in music. That was my first full year in the Air Force.
Yeah, that's
so
when I went in the Air Force too.
And
My
once
son was born that year.
oh geez, so you probably got some interesting memories from that time. But yeah, this is also about the time where music kind of starts to change a little bit, and like we're only 1 year removed from when like all the fucking boy bands start popping up and Britney Spears and all of that. So yeah, but 96 had some decent stuff from what I remember.
Britney Spears.
Yeah, she's batshit crazy now, but
Oh, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. To follow her Instagram for 5 minutes. Yeah, you'll see it. She's definitely batshit crazy.
yeah. So anyway,
But aren't we all?
yeah, well, yeah, that's different levels.
All right. I'm not even going to attempt a voice because I haven't been
It's okay.
been prepping for it.
It's all right.
So Red 5 News is limited to the Red 5 Network has 29 active podcasts and 6 archive pods for a grand total of 35
I'm 37?
plus 2 podcasts. Check out bio.link/red5. That's bio.link/red5 to browse the lineup. There's something for everyone in the Red 5 Network. Cantina Family Happenings. Oh, God, it's going to get noisy.
Yeah, sorry.
On Tuesday, Use and Abuse will be discussing Musical Pie. There's a sexual innuendo there that I'm just not going to make. Catch Scott, Kim, and Nicole at 2000 8 p.m. on the YouTube. So I'm assuming that's Eastern time. On Wednesday, so this is a good one. Mm-hmm. On Wednesday, ATSW the Escape Pod, those guys will be reviewing Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
The movie or the comic book?
The movie.
I've never seen the movie nor read any of the comics.
I love that movie.
The movie's good.
There's some great one-liners in that movie.
And the actors in it. I mean, there's some really famous actors that was one of their first roles.
Yeah.
All I remember is Michael Cera and the one guy who played Superman for one movie. Mm-hmm. That seen like in the trailers.
Oh, and
Captain America's in it too.
Oh, Chris Evans.
Yes, Chris Evans is in it, and fucking the Home Alone kid's brother is in it.
Yeah.
Who is
Kieran Culkin?
Yeah, who's also in some other. Anyway, he's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so like all the people that we can't name, but like obviously know that they were in things because it's hot in here.
Yes,
I can't think when it's hot.
Yeah. So if you're hearing, I turn on the AC in here. If you
that was my office today, 82 degrees.
Yeah.
Fucking Air Force can't get their shit together and get the fucking AC on.
Yeah. We're already back to the point where we're gonna have to start cold soaking the studio before the show.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Where was I? Oh yeah, so Escape Pod's doing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I just enjoy the shit out of that movie. Mm-hmm. It's a great popcorn movie, and there's just some great one-liners. So I would, if you haven't seen it, I would recommend seeing it. I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay.
There's video game references to it. It's just fun.
All right.
Check out Don, Brady, and Dragon Buddy Wednesday on YouTube, 1905, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Hashtag Justice for Hennifer. Hashtag Justice for Luna Girl. Hashtag DB is the real spy. So,
we'll address that next week.
Yeah. This past week, the Escape Pod, some of the compromising pictures also involve Luna Girl, which is why the hashtagging is
right
is affected. And look, just because like this is Hennifer.
Got it.
Layman's terms released. Hennifer must be stopped. Stay away from Taco Bell. So now they got Keith Layman involved in it. Mm-hmm. You know what I love? I love that Hennifer has brought so much content for everyone.
Yeah,
like she's just
what started off as just a simple joke is now
it's now just
blown up into God knows what.
There's lawsuits for all these people that are like all committing all this libel. So please give him a sub on YouTube for your primary source of ignorance and drunken banter, and feel free to like and comment his videos using a hashtag Justice for Hennifer.
I get it.
Sweet Studios is still basking in the afterglow of his newest Foo Fighters cover, All My Life. Check out past releases of the Quarantine Sessions at Sweet Studios on YouTube and give him a follow on the socials for updates. He sent me a TikTok, which apparently you can still look at TikToks even though you don't have the app.
Yeah, I think you can look at them in a browser.
Yeah. So he sent me one today. It was the Holy Hand Grenade skit overlaid with the Prince Charles inauguration.
I saw that.
It was fucking amazing.
So wait, was it like showing the inauguration and like dubbing the Holy Hand Grenade?
Yes. Because they have the fucking hand grenade. It's the goddamn sphere of fucking justice with the little cross on the top, and they're fucking walking around with it.
So thine can blow thine enemy to tiny bits.
It's it was just perfect. It was just I think the caption was they waited 45 years for this moment to be able to show this. So Sweet Studios, like and follow. Orange Fett Show released episode 75. May the 4th be with you. Find their podcast on Spotify and trans. You can find us at bio.link/the Sidebar Cantina, where you'll find our links to Patreon, YouTube, our audio podcasts on Apple, Audible, and Spotify, and all social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Discord, and TikTok. You can also find all of our Spotify music mixtape playlists, which I'm assuming that since we're doing the music in 96, that this week Luna Girl would be...
She already said it in the chat today that she's going to be doing a mixtape.
So Luna Girl's mixtapes are amazing, and you can find our previous mixtapes on our bio.link / the Sidebar Cantina. I think you also need to have Spotify to do that, but
Probably.
a lot of people have Spotify, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people use that. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I use Apple Music, except for these playlists because everyone should have them. Where was I? Oh, also no bio link is our TeePublic merch shop. We have our F Cancer and Jason Rose designs, our super sexy Twi'lek, Sidebar Chick, our beloved Hennifer, our Sidebar Cantina logo, and 2 throwback designs from Genic's point of view. There are t-shirts, hoodies, tote bags, phone cases, exclusive stickers and pins, wall arts, magnets, notebooks, laptop cases. You can't see the pillow.
Yeah, it's back there somewhere.
There's a pillow back there. Hopefully it's washed. He did seem he was awful careful when he brought it in.
I can't unsee that.
It's looking at you right now.
Yeah, no matter where I go in the studio,
the eyes are following you. Yes, it is terrifying.
Thanks. I didn't think about it for the whole 2.5 hours.
I should have brought it up earlier.
Can you hurry up so I can get out of here?
Yeah.
Pillows, just about anything you can imagine. Make sure you tag us on the socials to show off that sweet finance merch. Reviews!
No new reviews.
Motherfuckers.
What kind of fun you got over there, Bob?
It's iPhone.
Oh man, you can very easily pull up the podcasting app and leave a 5-star review for any podcast you would want to.
Right.
Yeah.
I could, but any of the ones that have me on them, I'd have to leave a 1-star review.
Oof.
We will read it.
He's very hard on himself.
We will read it, though.
Yeah,
Also in our bio link. No, I already read that. Fuck it, dude. Put it on teleprompter. I will read it.
More than once, apparently.
Please write us a 5-star review on Apple or Audible. Luna Girl received a fresh order of Sidebar stickers today.
Yes. From our Patreon funds.
Sweet. We give it back.
Yes.
We give it all back to our listeners.
That's right.
We leave reviews. But if you don't leave a review, then we are sad. It's not in the script. Don't have an Audible or Apple account? Our Facebook page has a review feature too. Just screenshot your review before you hit done and DM us the pic on Instagram or Twitter. This is your chance to tell us your thoughts on our show. Jennifer Lopez or Hank or Edith or Mama or somebody fun will read your review word for word on our next episode. If you are listening to us on audio, please consider joining us in the live chat on Mondays. The chat is most definitely where it is at. I think there was 20.
Yeah, I saw over 20 people in there at one point.
If you're new to the Sidebar, please subscribe, ding that bell, select the all to receive notifications when we go live. Remember to hit that like button. It really helps us out, and that is that.
I didn't tell the story about. Oh God, we missed so many stories. I didn't tell the story about how when we were in Galaxy's Edge and I put the sunblock on, I got some in my eye, and for like the whole day, I'm like rubbing my eye because I got sunblock.
I'm sure it got nice and bloodshot too.
Probably. I couldn't see it, but I know Bob and everybody were looking at me. They're like, "You okay?" Like, because I'm constantly like rubbing my eye and.
Well, at least you were smart and put sunblock on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Necessary.
yeah.
Yeah. Get that Florida sun baking on you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bob, thank you once again for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Great
Anytime.
conversation. And yeah, I'm thinking maybe we're going to have to knock out some episodes of Firefly and have you back.
Give me like a 2-week heads up so I can just run through the ones I gotta run through. Never
Yeah.
have a problem rewatching those.
Yeah, dude, I haven't watched Firefly probably in.
It's been a little bit for me.
Yeah, it's probably been 5 years since I watched an episode of Firefly.
The running joke was we talked about going as the Firefly crew next time. Just like,
Yeah, as like our cosplay for
Yeah.
the next May the
Or
4th.
People would get it.
oh yeah.
Oh, it's so many. Everyone would get it.
Or you could go as Star Trek. And
Yeah.
Just like, this is very odd. I mean, but
I
yeah.
don't want to do that.
No.
Oh my God.
do
Like
that.
I could see like somebody who's like ultra wealthy, retired, has nothing to do with their time. Just, once every couple of years, just get a couple friends together. Like, all right, we're gonna get full Star Trek uniforms on. We're gonna book Galaxy's Edge, and we're gonna book the Starcruiser, and we're gonna go on. And
Captain, we seem to be in an alternate reality.
Spock, I don't know what I'm seeing.
Captain, we seem to be in an alternate timeline. Anyway,
I wouldn't want to have to bear that wrath of all of those Star Wars fans.
you'd be killed in your sleep.
I know it just would not. You'd have that astromech would be following you around, like hitting your heels, like the whole time.
Oh, that would be funny. But all right, but yeah, that's it. That's the show. Thanks again, Bob, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Had a
Yes, thank you.
freaking phenomenal time last week. Can't overstate it enough, and can't wait for the next time. So,
Likewise.
until next time, everybody raise your glass one more time.
Yeah.
Bob, happy birthday again.
Thanks.
And may the force be with you.
May the
Fourth
Fourth be with you. Such pansies with our water and our Diet Coke.
Yep.
Okay, now what do I click?
We were watching the Family Guy Star Wars, and I told Bob, I'm like, when that part came up, I'm like, Dave uses that to close the show every time.
Yeah.
Because again, it was like one of our first episodes. I'm sitting there trying to like fuck with we were using the Apple at the time, the Mac.
Yeah, the Mac.
And
The Mac and Google Meets.
yeah, and I'm sitting there trying to like stop the recording, and Dave's like, okay, now what do I click? I'm like, stop it. And then one day that ended up in the end audio of the episode, and then it just became a regular thing.
That was it.
It's just all these things that happen organically. All right, guys, we're going to end the live stream now. We love you. Bye. See you next week. Music of 96.